good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you get your podcast. Welcome to the second annual Oscars special on the Double Feature podcast with your special hosts, emphasis on special, Dan Clayton and Mr. L Productions.
Hello!
Huzzah! My God, you are this
What?
is just this is just Bernard and Robert at the Oscars.
It
This genuinely is.
is! I've
It
got the
really is.
hat, I've got a waistcoat, the tie, I dripped up with the fancy watch and everything, it's
I've got the tuxedo on because I'm a posh bastard. Yes. Don't
Bernard
just dinner
seems
coming
like
to.
a bow tie kind of guy, and Robert
Yeah,
seems like a straight
definitely.
tie kind of guy.
Yeah, yeah. Don't just coming to Little Theatre Donington, 16th, 18th of May. April. Sorry,
Yes, April.
it's been a long day.
Yes. But yeah, I made an effort this year. I dressed up more this year. But yeah, I got
Yeah.
drip watch.
Oh, that's sick. It's still keeping the Infinity Stones theme.
Yeah, yeah.
From
I still
because
keep that
you're
from last year
remember.
when I wore the shirt.
Yeah, I'm
Um
kind of similar look, but like muted down the colours. I've not gone all pink. I'm just simple but classy. You know what we're talking about.
Is it because
But
I
yeah,
stole your salmon
I
shirts?
you stole my. Oh, you didn't give them back. Did
Yeah,
you?
I'll give him back to you soon.
You
I'll
still
bring
give
him
them
back on
back, yeah.
Monday because I don't think I need
Please.
him
I'm
now
not.
because
I
I've
mean,
got
I'm
the
not there Monday. I'm not there Monday.
oh shit.
Remember?
Oh, okay, the next
Yeah.
week. I'll give him back
Either
to you on
way,
the Sunday next
either
week.
maybe either way though, by popular demand, that last year's Oscar episode I think was really well received. I think
It's one of our
it was
most
quite a
viewed
strong one,
episodes. Yeah.
and so we're back at it again. We are going to be covering the 2026 Oscar awards. We're going to talk about kind of the ceremony and also all of the winners and whatnot. And then in our part three, kind of almost like a twist. Obviously, last year we discussed previous Best Picture winners, obviously some of the best in film. This time we're going to go kind of the opposite route. We're going to be looking at, of course, the Golden Raspberries, which is the kind of the spoof of the Oscars, which kind of honor the worst of the worst in film. Or so you might think, because oftentimes we're going to be looking at Golden Razzie nominations for the worst film, so for worst picture. But you'll often find, obviously, some of them are shite. Some of them are Madam Web.
Well
Some of them
done to
are War of
War
the
of the Worlds
Worlds.
for sweeping. Uh,
Yes.
we all saw it
But
coming.
obviously,
Well done.
there's some of the nominees that come up are films that at the time are kind of poorly received, but may get a reappraisal years down the line. One of my films definitely applies for that. But yeah, I think it's going to be quite an interesting part three because it's not as clear cut of like great movies or bad. It's a bit of both, and I think that'll be quite cool.
Yeah, because obviously it was my
Yeah,
idea to do that for this one. Because I thought, well, what's the
yeah,
complete opposite of doing Best Picture winners? And I
yeah,
thought, well, let's bring up the Razzies. They're a great
yeah,
award show. There's
yeah. But I think it.
there's nothing like complicated about the Razzies. There's no politics in it. It's your movie is shit. It's or
I
are
mean,
they?
there is. I mean, to be fair, there is some shit that does go down at the Razzies. There is some. There's been some unfortunate things to happen with that, but
To
we,
be fair,
we,
I
we live
can
and learn.
imagine a lot of people don't take it well.
Yeah. Either way, let's crack on with our part one where we're going to be talking about the current news in movies and pop culture and whatnot. Starting with a
Yes.
fair few passings away of celebrities, and one of them literally today as we're recording this, which I think you're going to take the helm on,
Yes,
aren't you?
literally 4 hours prior to recording, I saw that absolute legend Chuck Norris has passed away, completely out of the blue. I woke up this morning, I checked posts, and I saw that he'd been sent to hospital, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's probably gonna be fine." Everyone was making the usual kind of comments people make about Chuck Norris because he's kind of a legend. So it's like, oh,
Mhm.
it's Chuck Norris. He's there to heal the doctors. He's
Yeah.
going to the hospital he built for him for his birth. The hospital is going to Chuck Norris, and so
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah. That.
it's gonna be fine. Everyone's having good with it, but and then like 2 p.m. I'm at work. I'm bored. I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Wow, out of
bonkers.
nowhere at the age of 86,
Mhm.
which is a
You know,
very
fair,
good age.
fair. Yeah. But it is really surreal. Like I say, he's kind of just. It's one of those passages where it's like he's somebody who's just always existed that we've known of. It was
Yeah,
really weird, and it kind of just didn't really. It just wasn't on the radar that it would happen. You know,
no, like there was no
definitely.
build up for this.
No, it was just yeah, it was very sudden.
And then,
Um,
but obviously, yeah, he's done plenty of good films. Very famous actor, martial artist, and whatever. And
yeah,
I think the first thing I ever saw him in was Dodgeball.
Fucking dodgeball, man.
When he's the extra judge that gives the match the go ahead to go to sudden death, and Ben still hates him for it. And then I remember seeing
Yeah.
him in one of the Expendables movies.
Oh,
Because
is it?
those
That
movies,
makes sense.
those movies
That
have
does make
always got
sense.
quite stacked casts full of the kind of actors who are also quite strong and muscular and do martial arts and
Yes.
whatever. So he fit right in there. I think it was the second
I
one
do
he was
enjoy that
in,
one.
which is the but so it's kind of insane. Chuck Norris at this point has basically become like a mythical figure
Yeah, it
in
kind
our
of has.
world. So it's kind of wild to see fucking Chuck Norris pass away.
Hmm.
It's
It's bonkers,
crazy.
but of course, like, rest in peace and like best wishes to
Absolutely.
his friends and family. But there's a couple others. So there's another one. I think you were going to set the helm on a very young passing of James Van Der Beek, who passed away age 48.
Yeah, he's a
This
bit younger, but we've
Dawson's Creek,
known it's
I
been
said
coming
Dawson's
for a
Creek actor.
while.
Obviously, he got diagnosed with uh, colorectal cancer back
Yes.
in 2023. It says here, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of been unlike Chuck Norris, it has been a bit more of a gradual development, but still 48 is a that is young.
Yeah.
That is young to pass away. That's really, really unfortunate.
Yeah, but the reason I wanted to discuss him is because I haven't actually seen anything he's in, but I've seen him in real life. I met him. I met him in Los Angeles a bunch of years back, and I had no idea who he was at the time, and I was quite a small kid, so we ended up just having a really normal conversation.
What
Um,
was he like?
he was really nice, you know. He was like he didn't, you see a lot of celebrities, you think they carry around that kind of aura of I'm a celebrity and
Yeah,
whatever. Not with this
get me
guy. I
out of
mean, you
here.
couldn't tell he was you couldn't tell he was a celebrity. But
Yeah.
because I met him, we were in a Brazilian jiu-jitsu location. I think it was the one at Beverly Hills. Because my dad did the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu for a while, and we had to go to LA every time he needed to do a belt test because you'd have to go to see the Gracies themselves to do the test. And so we were out in California. We went to Beverly Hills and we went to the session. And I'm in the reception room and everything. And it turns out he just walks in with I believe his daughter. And he was very young at the time, and his daughter had a fascination with the pedal bin in the corner of the room. And so there's just a little kid keep playing with the pedal bench, just absolutely mind blown by the fact that it just opened itself. And so I said to James Vanderbeek, I said to him, "You need to get her one of those for Christmas." And he had a good laugh at it. And then we went on our way. And then after he left, Mom came over and said, "Do you know who that was?" I was like, "No." And he was like, and my mom was like, "Well, it's celebrities from Dawson's Creek." And I was like, "Oh,
Nice. Yeah.
oh, really?" But it was the
That's
fact
such
that
a
you can have such a nice normal
yeah.
interaction with someone. So
That
like
is such a
even though I've
sweet
not seen anything he's in, and I've probably only seen like I've seen like one of the memes from Dawson's Creek,
mhm.
but like I've not watched anything he's in, I don't think. But like I still have that memory of him because he was just
Grounded,
such
like
kind of
down
a
to earth guy.
yeah. It was like complete contrast to when I met Bradley Cooper because that was at the Chinese theater, that was busy and there were loads of people, whereas this was just bumped into him in a Gracie Jiu Jitsu spot. But
That's so
yeah, the stories of
that's
Hollywood.
a really sweet that is a really sweet story, genuinely is.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to
Um
bring that one up. And I do wonder if
yeah.
he ever did get his daughter a pedal bin for Christmas.
Honest honestly though, if he did, that would be the most wholesome thing
I'd
ever.
love to know. I would
That would
absolutely
be
love to
yeah.
know.
But
But
as I said, best wishes especially to his family, to his friends and to his fans.
yes,
And of course his daughter, who obviously, losing a father at that young is that's rough.
yeah.
And the final passing that we were going to talk about is of Robert Duvall. So again, kind of shifting gears to a much older actor. He passed away age of 95. And Robert Duvall is an actor, obviously, very one of those that sort of generation. We've talked about it, like Gene Hackman, that Clint Eastwood, Jack Nicholson. He's kind of that generation of actors, and we're slowly losing quite a lot of them. Obviously last Oscar episode we talked about Gene Hackman's passing, if you remember.
Y- Oh,
Um,
that was the
and
Oscars episode.
yeah, it was around that
Wow.
time, and then of course Robert Duvall. A lot of iconic films, The Godfather, Apocalypse Now. He had the iconic "I love the smell of napalm in the morning" line. He has that iconic line
Oh, that was
in
him.
that movie. Yeah, that's him. He's such a phenomenal character in that film. He's such a bastard. He's such a bastard because he's one of the generals in that film in the Vietnam. But it's brilliant. Network. That's another fantastic film from him. A great like quartet of actors, and he's part of that, and he's phenomenal in that film. And he's sharing the screen with, like Faye Dunaway and William Holden in that film, Peter Finch. But he's no slouch in that film because he's fantastic. But yeah, always was a very interesting, charismatic, and talented actor. And once again, best wishes to his family and friends. And again, it's another one of those that sort of generation of actors from that era. We're slowly losing them, you know.
Yeah.
But that is just the passage of time. It's weird, but I think we're really seeing it happen, and you just sort of worry about. You think of other actors who are still alive of that generation. You think it's getting to that point where it's like, when's their time? It's
Yeah.
that point now. I guess sort of Chuck Norris is a smidge younger, but like he's still kind of in that sort of generation, that sort of silent generation kind of bracket.
Yeah, he's kind
But
of in the
yeah,
middle of it because he was born in 1940.
yeah.
But
So smidge younger, but still kind of in the
yeah.
similar sort of vein. But yeah,
Yeah, it's just kind
but
of
yeah,
weird when you start seeing all the people you used to watch start kind of
yeah,
disappearing. Obviously, I think we've mentioned before that obviously I think Bruce Willis is going to be upcoming, and whenever
yeah.
whenever that happens, we're going to cover Bruce Willis films.
Absolutely, yeah,
Absolutely. Like
absolutely,
whenever it happens, we're going to drop the plans and just go for Bruce Willis.
yeah,
But
definitely,
hopefully most of the others kind of stars at that time still get a good run out of them. But, at least they have their movies left behind.
yeah. That's a valuable
They
legacy.
still exist
So
in the movies.
yeah.
I might have to watch Expendables
Speaking,
2 again now, not gonna lie.
maybe, yeah. I kind of want to watch some more. Yeah, I got to watch some other Deval. Maybe I might start watching Dawson's Creek. It's always kind of been on my mind. Maybe check it out at some point.
Yeah.
But speaking of things that we have watched and whatnot, I've watched a couple of things, a couple of new releases that have come out. First one is a new feature film which has been very divisive as of late. The Bride, directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal, a kind of adaptation of The Bride of Frankenstein, kind of Mary Shelley stuff. I was looking forward to this film, to be honest, because the trailers I thought looked kind of interesting. And we've had a kind of lot of classical horror, sort of modernized, stuff like Nosferatu, stuff like Del Toro's Frankenstein, which we'll be talking about in a bit.
Yes.
Um, and this kind of seemed to follow suit with that, and I was kind of looking forward to it because it's kind of almost a trend that I've been enjoying being a part of. But I think
It
that's the
almost
thing.
is.
What,
Yeah.
but when you notice a trend, I think that's when you kind of realize actually this kind of been a bit played out, and The Bride didn't really feel like it added a whole lot. Actually, no, it added a bit too much because that's the main thing. This film is all over the place. Like I kind of enjoyed it on a so bad it's good level, but I found a lot of elements very strong. Like production wise, it looks gorgeous. I love the kind of 30s aesthetic. It's in Chicago. I love that vibe. All the costumes, the makeup, it all looks great. Jessie Buckley as the bride is phenomenal. Like she goes proper balls to the wall with performance. It's fun seeing Christian Bale there and whatnot. And there's some great ideas throughout, but there are too many ideas. There are so many plot points, and it's like I can't. What the fuck is going on? It's one of those where there's far too much, and it's like what is going on? It is just a mess. But in a way, it's an enjoyable mess, and I would take something ambitious that doesn't quite land over just a generic, just generic slop. I would take this. It's at least more interesting to think about.
Yeah.
And it's one of those where it's like, even though I don't love it, I don't regret watching it. But it's certainly an interesting one. But it's just all over the shop. Um, but then the other film that I watched, a bit of different. It's sort of technically a documentary and slash concert film. Epic. Elvis Presley in concert.
Yes, I saw
Of
that you'd
course,
watched that. I hadn't heard of
yeah,
it prior. I've not heard much
yeah.
about it.
So this is from Baz Luhrmann, who obviously did the Elvis biopic a few years back
Oh,
with
okay.
Austin Butler. And when they were working on that film, they found a lot. They obviously through the Presley estate and whatnot, they found hours upon hours of previously thought to be lost concert footage from predominantly a lot of his Vegas shows in the 70s. It's like rehearsal and concert footage and whatnot. And they've managed to restore a lot of this, and both pitch quality because they have like the original films and whatnot. They have that they've managed to restore like the sound and whatnot, and they've made it part concert film, part documentary, and it is. I adored this. As the Elvis fan, like this was such a treat to watch.
Yes, and
Because it's
if there's
very much
any
like
doubt that Danny here is an Elvis fan, he rocked up the other day to our rehearsal and pulled out an Elvis CD from his bag. So,
yeah, I got the King Creole CD for my car now, which is
yes.
really fun. I love King Creole, such a good movie. But anyway, but that's funny because actually part of the documentary, because it's sort of chronicling Elvis's return to the stage after his movie career, which kind of stalled him creatively. And seeing clips from some of his movies, like they had Clam Baker there briefly. They didn't have the confidence number, which I was very
Oh,
disappointed by.
shame.
Zero out of 10, whack trash movie. Um, but honestly though, seeing some of the weird clips like the Dogman scene in Live a Little, Love a Little, seeing that on the big screen, and everybody around me who likely have never seen that film had no idea what was going on, and then you see them get tittering to themselves like, "What the fuck are we watching? What is this?" It almost like felt like sharing an in joke with people finally after so long. It's just like genuinely that was really special, and
Yeah.
seeing just some of these iconic the way Baz structured it as well, where he would cut between certain songs performed, but he'd cut between the concert footage and the rehearsal footage and whatnot. That was just a clever way to do it. But it's just a great celebration of Elvis and just how because a lot of his stories, his story is quite a tragic one in the end, um, with how financially he was abused by Colonel Parker, he was abused, and then ultimately his health massive decline towards the end. But I think it was just a really glorious celebration of how just enigmatic as an entertainer he was, and how he could just enthrall an audience. Even almost 50 years after he passed away, that audience I was with, they were loving it. I heard a couple of them like sort of singing along, they were sort of clapping and tapping the feet, and then at the end they were like, people were like really actively sharing how much they loved it. Like, I really enjoyed that. Like, you could really hear it. There was like a couple of people. They were like singing "Suspicious Minds" outside of the theater. It was like pissing it down 9 p.m. on a Friday evening, and they were loving it. And it was just that was such a magical experience, and I really valued that. But yeah, I just unabashedly loved that.
No, that sounds great.
Yeah, yeah, just a really special experience. Next up, again, even more, go from Elvis. Now we've got classic Doctor Who now. Some really exciting news has just dropped in terms of Doctor Who stuff. Because I think I briefly talked to you before about like the missing episodes.
Yes.
Yeah. So obviously back in like the 50s and 60s, a lot of British TV particularly. Obviously, because home media wasn't really a thing, most of it was kind of jumped and wasn't really archived properly and whatnot. Over the years, things have cropped up and things have been found and whatnot recently. But it's as time goes on, it's becoming increasingly rare that things will return and whatnot to the archives. But we have had the return of two missing Doctor episodes from the 1960s with William Hartnell's first Doctor and with the Daleks as well from the Daleks Master Plan serial, which is a 12-part serial. It's almost like its own mini series in the show. But this is a fan favorite mythical story, and not much survives from this. But we've recently had the announcement that episodes 1 and 3 of this story are returned to the archives, and will be seen for the first time since they were broadcast in 1965, and they're going to be dropping on iPlayer for free in early April.
Oh,
And
wow, that's really cool.
that's so exciting. It's so exciting. They obviously released with the press release. They released a couple of clips from these episodes that had never been seen before. And it's like as a Doctor Who fan, as a Doctor Who nerd who has seen about like 90% of the show, um, seeing things that I've never seen before. It's like seeing new Doctor Who, for the first time. seeing these shots that I've never seen before. Seeing there's a shot in one of the clips that they got where William Hartnell's wig is really curly, like unnaturally so, and it's like little things like that. It's like you can't ever because reconstructions have been done, like animations and slideshows, but you can never sort of replicate those little on-set mistakes that happen. You can never recreate that. It's just those little things, and that's why preserving media is such a valuable thing, and it's why I'm so happy that these have come back. Um, but yeah, I'm so looking forward to that, and I will be doing a video when the episodes come out. I'll kind of be doing a video on my thoughts on what I thought of the episodes and whatnot. But I'm so excited because the last time that any Doctor Who episodes have been found was about 13 years ago. So as I say, this doesn't happen often. So in the drought of Doctor Who news that we've had recently, and just how the profile show is just off the radar, this is such a great uplift for the fandom, and it's been great to see the response.
I mean, yeah, that sounds really neat. I mean, finding just like some hidden episodes in the back of
Yeah.
the
Well,
the vaults there, just out of
yeah. Well,
nowhere.
these were from I think these are from a private collector because it's a charity called Film is Fabulous who they work on trying to get in contact with private collectors who have these films and whatnot, like film cans of old media. And I don't know the full ins and outs of how it is. I believe the collector who owned these ones has passed away recently, and I believe there's family who have donated them. I think. Um, but even still, I think the fact that he's had that, he's kept it for God knows how long, and it's finally in a point where we can return it. It's great.
Yeah.
And people saying it's like, oh, why did he hoard them for so many years? It's like, let the professionals do the fucking job, okay? You're like, you don't know what you're doing, sat on Instagram. You don't know how this shit works. I don't know how this shit fully works. So just let them crack on with it. They know what they're doing. So yeah, anyway, mini rant over. And the last thing I want to discuss, it's obviously we talk about the Oscars today. We've had obviously award season has come and gone, and the main award show in the UK is the BAFTAs, which is often like a bit of a prelude to what the Oscars can have. But the BAFTAs and this year they had a very unfortunate incident, which I think you're probably all aware of. But I do want to discuss this because I think I don't want it to become like almost like a gossip news column, but I think it's very important to discuss this. So at the BAFTAs, the movie I Swear was nominated for a bunch of awards and won a few awards, including Best Actor for Robert Armayo, who this low budget British film beating out like Timothy Chalamet, Leo DiCaprio, very impressive. But the film it's a sort of biopic on the life of John Davidson, a man with Tourette syndrome. And John was at the BAFTAs that night, and obviously, because the film based on his life to raise awareness for this condition, it's been honoured and whatnot. And I can't remember the name because John has a specific form of Tourette's. I can't remember the name of it, but it's the form that essentially it results in involuntary tics that can often lead to you saying the most taboo things and words and phrases at the most inappropriate of times. And that happened at the BAFTAs because John was sat, I think, near the front, and Michael B. Jordan and Daryl Lindo, obviously for Sinners, came on stage presenting the award, and he shouts out the N word, which we are not going to defend that. And of
No,
course,
no.
black people are absolutely, you know, in their right to feel. Actually, not just black people, anybody is within their right to feel uncomfortable about that because obviously,
Yeah,
However,
obviously.
however, obviously, however, the the context of it, of course, John Nameson has a condition where it is involuntary for these tics to occur. It's not his choice. So there have been some appalling responses towards him, saying, why didn't he control it? It's because he can't. That is the point of his condition. That's the point of the movie that I Swear was made to raise awareness for that. The fact that, yeah, this is not an easy condition to live with. It's not easily controllable. And, it is definitely uncomfortable when something like this happens, but it's having that understanding. And it's having that understanding that both of these extremes can be true. It can be unfortunate that this has happened, but you can also sympathize with John and the context of this, you know.
Yeah, I think
That's
it's an
my
interesting one. You see, it's I don't know. We're in a period of time where you kind of have to take everything you see with a grain of salt because there's so much misinformation and
mhm.
AI generated nonsense. But based off the information I know from the event, they sat him near the camera and the microphone, which was mistake number one.
I think a lot of
If they know that he's a bit of a risk, why would you sit him right next to the microphone?
mhm.
Um, Number two, people online saying, yes, it's involuntary, but did he have to say that word specifically? Um, I don't know. That's a little bit of a weird one to defend on either
Mhm.
side, isn't it? It's a
Yeah.
complex topic. Because on the one hand,
But
you
as
can
we
think, yeah,
but as
why didn't he just say any other word? But then on
but
the other
also
hand,
it's you've got to
it's
remember it's not
involuntary.
his he is not controlling this, and he made a statement afterwards that he was appalled and um he felt, you know, incredibly paranoid that this has happened and just felt really bad that this has happened and whatnot. And it is not within he can't control it. That's the whole point of the movie that is, you know, based on his life.
Yes.
I think a lot of this has to, you know, a lot of fault of the BBC. I think, you know, the fact that they, as you said, sat him near the front, near the microphone, because it wasn't just that. A lot of his ticks were going off throughout the night, and he chose to leave the ceremony early because he knew it was disturbing people, which I think is really unfortunate. And I think something I haven't really seen discussed is that, of course, the film has been quite acclaimed and whatnot. And you know, I do plan to watch it because I do think it'll be an interesting film to watch. I think it's just dropped on Netflix in the UK recently. But I think there is something to be said about how the guy who played John, not saying he's a bad actor, but I know he doesn't have Tourette's, and I know that there are, yeah, I think I don't think there are many actors in that film who actually have Tourette's, so you cannot lose it. So it's almost like you're praising the film, which doesn't really represent, you know, which doesn't have these people, you know, featured. It's getting all the love. Whereas, on the other hand, somebody actually with the condition is ostracized essentially, like in the same night, in the same space. And I think there is a bit of a double standard when you look at it that way.
Yeah.
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 And I think that,
Kinda.
to be fair, that can apply to a lot of sort of biopics, particularly about disability. You know, think like Rain Man, for example. You know, you've got Dustin Hoffman getting back in the 80s, getting, you know, showered with accolades and an Oscar for his performance for playing an autistic guy. Whereas, you know, in real life, autistic people then and still now get, you know, frowned upon, infantilized and whatnot.
Yeah.
There is definitely a double standard with it. And
I
I
think
definitely don't think I don't think the movie was made with ill intent. I should say that. But I do think there is some, yeah, I think it does highlight that. I think that night especially, the fact that it all happened in the same space in the same night.
Mm. I
Yeah.
think it's a situation where, when it's the topic of a movie, critics will acclaim the movie because, it's performatism in a way. It's like, oh, we want to be virtuous and say, yeah, this is good, whatever.
Yeah.
But then it comes down to an actual instance of said thing, whatever the topic, and they don't care. It's
Mhm.
you'll find that a lot of way with a lot of people in a lot of settings is that
Yeah.
they'll say, "Oh, this thing's so great, and we're going to back this thing." And then when it's time to actually back it, they dash. They don't care.
Hmm.
It's all just
Yeah.
performative. It's
This
which
has,
is,
I think this
it's
instance has
ironic, really,
definitely,
considering it's actors. It is performative, but
yeah.
but
Yeah.
I think there's a couple of other issues with it as well. I've heard, and again, I can't verify a lot of it because it's so difficult to get like credible sources nowadays. But apparently, he said a lot of other various
He
slurs
did.
to other people. I think I may have heard he might have said something homophobic towards someone on there, but they edited all that out, but they left this in. Why would they do that?
Yeah. And I believe as well the BBC also edited out a Free Palestine remark. But
Ah,
because
yes,
it
well,
wasn't, yeah, because it wasn't not from John, but I think somebody else had said Free Palestine in the event, and that was cut out. But this wasn't because it wasn't live. Like they could have edited that out.
yeah, but so why did they
So
leave it in? What's the
yeah,
point? Why are they
it
trying
doesn't
to
make
make him look
sense.
bad? If they cut
It
out
really
everything
doesn't make
else he said, Why did they not cut this out? If they didn't cut anything else out, then sure, fine. But they cut
To be
everything else except this, and I feel like they're trying to stir the pot a little bit.
to be fair, I did watch some of the event, and whilst I didn't watch that moment, I did obviously I didn't know what it was initially, but I did hear his ticks like at intervals throughout. So they were there. I couldn't make out a lot of what was actually said, but they were still present. But still, it's a very unfortunate situation. But I think it's definitely shown a lot of people up as it's this situation where there isn't you can't go into camps here. You've got to very much understand both sides of this argument. You
Yeah,
can't. It's like yeah, it's a really complicated subject, and that's why I wanted to talk about it and have that both highlight both sides. And I would also as well, before we move on, I would like to link in the description of this video. It's a video from my good friend Rich, who's part of by Amdram lot and whatnot. I've done a few shows with him. You'll probably meet him at some point. But he also has Tourette's, and he's a big film nut. I'd love to get him on the podcast at some point. But he recently made a video actually about the movie, and I think his perspective as somebody with Tourette's, not I think a different form of Tourette's than John, but I think his perspective on the thing, and we both had like discussions about it. Um, I would I would highly recommend watching that video because I think it will his perspective is far more informed than we can ever dream to
mm.
be. So I do want to link that in the description about that because I think it'll be
Yeah,
valuable to listen
absolutely. So
to.
make sure you send
Yeah,
that through to me, and I'll put it in.
yeah,
Um,
we'll do.
I think the last point I want to make on the topic, before we cut to the rest of part one, is that there's a lot of people online always have something to say about this kind of shit, and it's always people
Mhm.
who are just unfiltered about what they say, and they'll say things like, "Well, if he's got this condition, why not just stay at home and not turn up?" And it's this example of like excluding people for circumstances outside of their control. Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, it lacks sympathy. But yeah,
Yeah,
as you mentioned, this is a very much look at both sides of the camp kind of situation.
yeah,
And I think sometimes, I think this is something that you can really translate across to most things in the world, all sorts of different genres of topic, whether it be, politics, religion, this kind of
culture.
thing, everything really. Sometimes you can just say, this situation is unfortunate. You don't always have to pick one side or the other and say,
Yeah.
yes, it's I agree with this or yes, I agree with this. You say, look, yes, it was unfortunate. Yes, he shouldn't have said that word, but yes, he couldn't control it. It's an unfortunate situation. Pack it up, move along, we're done. It doesn't need
Both.
to be a whole thing that draws out into what he's going to get extremified into racism or disability rights. It's the kind of
Mhm.
thing that could just like become so much bigger than it needs to be compared to if we just say, look, it happened, it was bad, he's apologized, he didn't mean it, it wasn't intentional. Have a good day.
Yeah. And like both things can be true at the same time.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that often comes about is that a lot of the times with these kind of with things that happen like this, it's either one this is true or this is true, and it can't be that. And it's like there can be a middle ground. There can be an understanding of both sides and coming to a happy medium in a sense. Um,
Yes, well, it would be nice if that was if everyone else could see that all the time, but
yeah,
everyone's always got to think that they must be in the right and the other side must be in the wrong. And, I think
yeah,
it is important to look at both sides of it because obviously, as you mentioned at the start of this bit, we obviously don't condone the use of the M word to anybody like
yeah.
that. It's
It's
incredibly inappropriate.
yeah,
But at the same time, he can't help it.
yeah.
He can't help it. It
It's
it wasn't a choice.
yeah. It's
So
literally out of his control. So
it is what it is,
yeah.
you know?
But
But yeah,
context is everything. Context is
exactly.
everything.
If it was anybody
Um,
else, then there would be problems.
yeah,
If it was
that's fair.
anybody who
That's
didn't
fair.
have Tourette's, there would be problems. But
I'd also yeah, and one more thing as well. Credit to Michael B. Jordan, Delroy Lindo, and Alan Cumming, who was hosting the event later on, for being professional about it.
Yeah,
Like
not turning
how
it into like a whole
how
massive public
how
thing.
you know Michael and Del remaining as collected as they did in a moment that must have been really uncomfortable for them, and Alan coming later on explaining very diplomatically about the condition. Credit to them. Credit to them. You
Yes, I
know.
mean, I think they handled it pretty well at the event. It's just obviously the fallout is what's kind of been
Yeah.
bigger.
Yeah. But anyway, let's move on to a few more things in part one because this has been there's been a lot to be fair. I was
Yes,
surprised it
it's
wasn't. You know.
well, it's been a while since
Yeah.
we last recorded.
Yeah.
So following that, we've discussed kind of the more controversial topic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it back to some kind of m movies that have come out recently. We mentioned briefly last episode, Send Help.
It's the late Sam Raimi movie.
Yes, I have watched it and it was very good. It was very enjoyable.
Mm.
A little bit of a slow burner to begin with, but once it gets there, it gets pretty good. And then the ending is great. There's a lot of kind of things there that feel very Sam Raimi from the movies I've seen of
Yeah.
his. So overall, good film, would recommend.
Yeah, I do want to watch it because my friends watched it. But yeah, because one of my friends is a big Dylan O'Brien fan, obviously, who stars in it. We watched Love and Monsters. I don't know if do you know that movie, Love and Monsters? It's on Netflix.
I've seen it advertised on
Yeah,
Netflix.
he's in that, and Deb, she loves that movie. So and she loves Dylan O'Brien. So we watched that. Like it was like the day after All Shook Up. Like I think we just watched that, and then Mitchell's us movies.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
made them. I made them watch Mitchell's. But
Which
it's
friend is
not that
this?
friendly. It's not that one either,
Oh,
by the way.
okay. Okay.
See, you couldn't make that joke, you bastard. Yeah. Either way, but I didn't go see it. But obviously, they really enjoyed it though when they went to see it, which is really cool. So I do want to check it out at some point because it's like Sam Raimi doing like an original sort of horror, like thriller kind of movie. So it looks kind of cool,
Yes, yeah,
you
it's
know.
good. Also in the horror realm, Scream 7 came out, which I enjoyed.
Yeah. I've heard some things about Scream 7.
You may have heard some things. Uh,
Yeah. Is
I
it? Are we
enjoyed
allowed to
it.
spoil it? Are we allowed to spoil it?
We don't normally spoil part one, so we'll
I
leave it
mean, it's not
open
really
for
me
now.
spoil. It's not really me spoiling it, but isn't like I've heard some really stupid things about who the killer turns out to be in this one.
Yeah, that's probably the
Is that
weakest part of the movie is that
is that
maybe the
true?
killer reveal is not as good as most. Like they were kind of really grasping on this one. But it was really
Hmm.
nice to have Sydney back.
Yeah, yeah,
And there's a lot of really good kind of kills and good blood and everything. So, for the most part, it's typical Scream quality. I'd say maybe just the ending lets it down a little bit. I managed.
Have you seen all the Scream movies?
I've seen all of them. Yes.
Where would I'm just curious because I've only seen the first movie. Where would
Oh, it's in the
this one
lower
rank?
half. Lower half.
What's your least favorite of
I
all
don't
of them? Well,
know.
I want to know. I want to know all this stuff. You know.
I don't know, 'cause it's been a few years. Like I think I watched him
Hmm.
back in 22. But I remember Scream 3 is usually considered the weakest.
That's yeah. Of the original of the Wes Craven ones, I often hear that's the weak point
But
of them.
but to be fair, I think that most of them are they're relatively similar. They're all quite a good
Yeah.
standard.
I mean, obviously
Um,
the first one's obviously peak. We love the first one.
yeah, first one's good. Second one's good. Fourth and fifth one's good. I like trying to guess all the killers and everything,
Yeah.
and there's usually multiple killers as well. So there's a good number to guess from, and I am happy to say I did manage to get something right with this movie. Uh, Not my usual thing, but I don't want to say my usual thing because there'll be spoilers for people who've seen it. But I'll tell you about it afterwards.
Yeah.
It's but yeah, I think the overall the kind of the final kind of a climax of the film is maybe the weakest part of it. But the rest of it's pretty standard Scream affair, which is good. Also, little shout to a song that was written for the movie by Ice Nine Kills, Twisting the Knife. Very good song. I do
Oh
enjoy
yeah.
it. Didn't know McKenna Grace could sing. She's very
Yes, she
good.
can.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, McKenna Grace can sing.
yeah, I didn't know. This was the first time I'd heard her. But yeah, it's a pretty decent song for the end credits. But yeah, it was really nice to have to have Sydney back, and Sydney is a good character. Uh, I think she does a good job of not having the same sort of mistakes that Laurie Strode had in the Halloween revival.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, overall good film. And additionally, another thing that came out recently, season 2 of the prequel series Ted, about Seth
Yeah.
MacFarlane's little animated bear that comes to life. God, I love Ted. I mean, yes, he's basically Peter Griffin as a bear, but
Yeah.
but I do enjoy it. It's my kind of humor, really.
Griffin is a bear.
It sounds exactly like Peter Griffin. Just
It's
100%
the
sounds exactly like him.
it's the same voice. It's the same voice, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, but the thing is, Seth MacFarlane can do so many different voices for Family Guy,
Yeah,
and
it's
then
so
Ted just sounds
similar.
exactly like Peter Griffin,
Yeah,
just
like you
exactly the
forget that he
same.
does. Like you forget that he also does Brian and Quagmire,
He's
but
Brian, he's Quagmire, he's Stewie.
it's,
He does so
it's
many of the
Stewie. Yeah,
characters.
it's Stewie. Yeah,
Yeah, and then
yeah,
Ted just turns out to be exactly the same as Peter Griffin,
yeah.
just with a slightly thicker hint of Bostonian.
I'm
Um,
just now imagining Ted with Quagmire's voice. All right,
All
giggity,
right,
giggity.
giggity, giggity, giggity.
Just that is the best thing ever.
But
Or could you imagine
I
Ted with
love.
Stewie's voice? Oh,
uh,
hello, fat man. Oh, hello. Yes, yes, yes. Cool, cool.
it's cool, like cool whip.
I just
Holy crap,
so.
Lois. This is like that time I got
Oh,
turned into a little bear. Hello, everybody. My name's Ted.
hey, well, my name's Ted.
Oh, God. But no,
So,
I do like Ted.
yeah.
I mean, I like Family
Like
Guy. I
when I
like
watch,
all that kind of humor and
yeah.
whatever.
Like I
Um,
do. Like I'm not like a dedicated fan, but I do enjoy Family Guy. Like from like if it's on, I watch it. It's always funny to have on.
yeah. I've seen
I
every
do kind of want. I
episode.
do. Yeah, because like obviously the Ted movies, I haven't. I kind of don't have the best reputation, but I think the
No.
Ted series, but the Ted series, I've actually heard pretty good things about, so I may actually give it a shot.
Yeah, because I mean, the movies are very much just kind of like
Generic comedies. They're
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 what
not
I've called previously absolute comedy. They're like,
no,
they
they're
don't
not
have
absolute
that
comedy.
much like they don't necessarily have that
Depth.
much depth to it. It's got a little bit, but
Yeah,
not too much. But the series has a bit more to it, I think. So
yeah. I'm curious to watch the series actually. I might watch the movies because I've only seen Ted 2 of all of them. I don't know why.
oh God. But I
I don't
think the
know.
movies might
I don't
have
know
some
why.
of the funnier moments overall. But I think
Yeah,
but I think that the series is better like plot wise.
quality wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'd give the series a go. To be fair.
I'd love for a Ted
Yeah.
3 to come out.
What would be this? What would be the tagline for Ted 3?
This time it's personal. The
I
revenge.
love I love the tagline on Letterboxd for the first Ted movie. It's like Ted is coming. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. It's brilliant.
Anyway,
It's brilliant. Yeah.
that's everything new that's come out. Because Ted has come. Uh, uh,
And the and the award for best joke goes to
uh,
you.
thank you. I'd like to thank the Academy, Ted himself, my mom, and yeah. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for this prestigious award. I would now like to move on to trailers.
Yes, let's do that. There's a
I'd now
lot.
like
I've
to
got
move
to
on to
bet.
trailers. I've got three to discuss.
Yeah, I
Um,
might have a few to add to this, but go
First
for
of
yours.
all, one that I think you may have also seen, Spider-Man: Brand New Day.
Brand new day. Yes, I did. I did quite. Yeah, this was
Stacked
I
trailer.
did
It
see
looks
this.
pretty good.
Pretty good.
Looking
Yeah.
forward to it.
I'm
Yeah.
curious. I'm curious to see where this goes. I think it's weird because I think it's kind of clear that they will probably make it so everybody remembers who Spider-Man is after No Way Home. They probably will do that. And I think had this come out say like 2 years after No Way Home, like the other Spider-Man movies were like 2 years in between, I would have been a bit unhappy. But the fact that it's been a fair bit of time, it's been like nearly 5 years when this comes out since No Way Home, which is insane. But I think that'll be, I don't,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, because it's like July 26th. That was December 21, so it'll almost be 5 years since No Way Home. I think it'll be. I wouldn't mind it, and also because I enjoy these characters, I'm invested in them.
Yeah, I mean,
And
like,
it's
I
a
feel like
decent,
Spider-Man's like the most consistently good, like, character out of all the different kind of like
yeah.
superhero movie series. Because I mean, Batman's good as well, but Batman's had a few flops. Whereas Spider-Man, like, arguably the worst one is three, which is still pretty decent on the most
No,
part.
no, no, no. The Amazing Spider-Man duology.
Even then, they're pretty okay. Like, they've got some weak points, but they've got
I
some pretty
mean,
good points.
I mean, to be fair, I think probably because of like, I think they've had a bit of a reappraisal, but Amazing Spider-Man 2 is still kind of ass. I can't lie. They can't both come out. But Spider-Man 3 is good. Spider-Man 3 is good.
For the most
It's
part.
stupid, but
For the most part.
yeah, it's flawed. It's like the Phantom Menace. It's flawed as fuck, but it's actually decent. It is
Yeah.
not bad.
But the Tom
Um,
Holland ones have all been pretty good so far.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, I kind of, I
Spider-Man
mean,
in general is just probably one of the most like
yeah,
probably one of the most popular superhero characters out
yeah,
there.
yeah. I think what I gather from this trailer is that the trailer looks a bit more grounded than obviously No Way Home. You can't really get much bigger than that. The fucking
Yeah.
multiverse, but it does look a bit more grounded, and I'm thinking this could be interesting, and I'm curious to see where they go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um Furthermore, we've had some more trailers released for the Super Mario Galaxy movie, and I gotta say I'm so
I have.
excited for this movie.
Yeah, that will of
Uh
course be our next spot, like more than likely.
Yes, I will be watching it on Easter Monday with my guys. Because Aaron owes me a free ticket after I whooped his ass at Mario Kart Wii. I think I got like I must have got like like 6 or 7 times his score. So yeah. So you know, easy
Oh,
winnings.
I could do the joke. I could do the
Don't do
joke
it.
there,
Don't
but
do
I'm
it.
not going to.
Don't do
I'm
it.
not going to.
6-7. Yeah,
Dickhead.
you don't get to do it.
You knobhead. What the fuck?
You don't get to do it. Um,
Oh,
but yeah, I'm really excited for this movie. Every trailer just gets me more and more hyped because like at this point it's not just Mario Galaxy. It's Mario Galaxy, Mario Odyssey, Mario Sunshine. Well, it's got so much in there. And I'm just really excited
everybody's
for
here.
it. For some reason, they got Childish Gambino, Donald Glover. Which is it, Donald Glover or Danny Glover? Which person?
Yeah,
Donald Glover.
Donald Glover. Not
Donald Glover
Danny
playing
Glover's the lethal.
Yoshi. Oh yeah, he's the Lethal Weapon one. But yeah, they got
Yeah, Donald
Glover
Glover.
playing Yoshi.
Young Lando Calrissian in
'Cause,
a Han Solo movie.
I mean, I know him from Community as Troy Barnes. Community is such a great show. But yeah, I'm really excited for this movie. I just want to give a shout out to my boy Conkdor. I mean, look how happy this guy looks to just be part of the team.
I want the
Bro's so
Academy
happy to
for
be part
letting
of
me
the
be in the
team.
movie.
But no, I'm very
This is
excited.
his voice.
Yeah, I got the
Yeah.
wallpaper and everything for the movie.
Oh. Oh,
It's
you've
very
prepped.
colorful.
You have prepped. You have prepped for
Yeah,
this.
yeah, I'm really excited for it, man. I'm very looking forward to it. Um, no sign of if Wario's going to be in this movie, but if he is, I'm calling Danny DeVito instantly. Danny DeVito's basically built like Wario anyway, so it works.
That would be so cool. That would be the best thing ever.
But I'm so excited for this movie.
Yeah.
I get the feeling though that it may be trying to shove more into it than it can handle in the runtime, which the first movie did a bit, but this one just seems like there's so much going. But
To be
I'm
fair,
sure it's going to be
if
really
he
fun.
yeah, we'll keep an open mind, but
I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it a lot, and I think visually it all looks amazing so far.
no, yeah, the
Um,
animation's been great for these ones.
but yes, I'm a little cautious, but I'm very excited. I'm very excited for it. Um, Conversely, I've also got the on the opposite of Mario, I've also got the first teaser trailer for Sonic 4 just dropped the other day.
I haven't seen this one.
It's peak. So Jim Carrey's back as Eggman.
Is it actually Jim Carrey though?
That's the thing,
Oh,
though.
is
Is it
it?
Jim Carrey or is it the clone? I need to know because what the hell happened there? So quick
Botox,
sidetrack. Jim
filler.
Carrey got cloned after outing the Illuminati. He outed the Illuminati on a talk show, got himself cloned. R.I.P. Jim Carrey, we miss you. Um, it's not him, bro. That wasn't him. That wasn't him.
He,
That wasn't him.
it's called Botox, man. Most
No, but
celebrities get it.
he's against like Botox and plastic surgery. He doesn't
Maybe he
like
went
all
on.
the Hollywood stuff.
Maybe he did it on a dare on a night out
His
in
eyes were a
Wolverhampton.
different color.
Again, maybe he was on a night out in Wolverhampton
Why
and
would
did
that
it.
change your eye color? It's
Oh,
not
it
him.
can.
It's not
No,
him.
trust me. It can do. Wolverhampton can do that to you, buddy.
Or maybe Wolverhampton can,
Yeah.
no, I mean,
I mean, I ran
apparently it was
into one
just
who looked like Barbara
apparently it was
Streisand in
just some
Wolverhampton.
random guy in a mask, like a really really good
That's
mask.
so. That's so funny.
This is gonna be the plot of The Mask 3. Watch.
Oh yeah.
This is just a
I'm
big
not being
PR
funny.
stunt.
Yeah, yeah, mate. I'm not being funny, but like in Wolverhampton, I ran into a woman who looked like Barbara Streisand. So anything can happen. I'm not joking. I'm not joking.
Um,
That happened on Fresh Week.
it's
That genuinely happened.
But yeah, so back away from the Jim Carrey clone situation.
Sonic 4.
Sonic 4. Yeah, so Sonic is back, Knuckles and Tails are back, Shadow's back. We got Amy coming in for this movie. We got a few interesting cast notes for this one that I didn't expect. First of all, what on earth are Matt Berry and Richard Ayoade doing in this movie? What are they going to be doing?
The IT.
Apparently, the IT crowd is part of this, and Nick Offerman as well. What is Nick Offerman doing here? I need to know. I need to know if one of these people is playing Big the Cat. That's what I need to know.
I'm definitely with
But
Matt Berry. Definitely.
I'm interested. I'm intrigued. But yeah, the little teaser is really cool. It's introduced to us that the Chaos Emeralds are very much coming into play here. For the non-Sonic fans, Chaos Emeralds are kind of like Infinity Stones in a way. There's a bunch of colorful gems, and when you get them, you're really powerful. And they spawn off of
When
the
does this
Master
come out?
Emerald. So
When
this
does
movie
this come out
comes
again?
out at the end of next
Jesus.
year, I believe.
Well, the end of
Wait,
2027.
no, I think it's a year from now. I think it's 1 year away. So I
So
think
like
it's
early
March.
27.
Yeah, I think it's
Oh,
literally
okay.
1 year yesterday. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so it's
All right.
coming, and Metal Sonic is going to
So
be
is Ted.
there, and oh no, not Ted. Ted's not coming anymore.
Sonic is though.
Oh my God. But
It's funny.
but yeah, we got Metal Sonic in here who looks really cool. The teaser's just so cool. From like a really nerdy fan standpoint here, like the fact that like in the music you can hear a little bit of Sonic Boom, which is from Sonic CD, the game Metal Sonic debuts in. But then there's also a bit of His World from the very critically derided Sonic '06, which makes me think, oh, they're gonna do some future stuff. They're gonna bring in Silver the Hedgehog. Like there's so many possibilities here. I'm so excited. I'm really looking forward to Sonic 4 because the Sonic movies just
Mm.
keep getting better and better. So I'm really interested to see how the next one goes.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see how this pans out. But it's gonna be a fun one.
I mean, I don't know how it's gonna exceed Sonic 3 because really good. But I'm excited. But that wraps up part one. However, before we go on to part two, I do just want to put out a little announcement here. You see, I've
Mhm.
noticed lately looking at our kind of statistics of viewing that we're not clicking so much with the younger audience. So I wanted to try and reach out to
Oh,
them. So if you would entertain me for a second. When you're host maxing the Oscars episode of the Double Feature podcast and genuinely trying to rizz up the younger generation by going brain rot mode, and even though you're unk-coded with a bunch of fame-pilled NPCs, you're still S tier level aura farming. 6-7.
6-7.
Oh my God, I can't believe they put 6-7 brain rot and Subway Surfers at the Oscar. That is
We'll be discussing
insane.
this. There is one more trailer actually that I wanted to just briefly mention in part one, and that is Dune Part 3,
Oh, trailer drop for Dune.
which yeah, obviously will be coming out in December. I think around the time of Doomsday, so it'll be Doomsday.
Doomsday. Let's
Yeah. But
go.
honestly, like obviously I've not adored the other Dune movies, but they definitely got a better like I think Dune 1 was a bit too just like dense and a bit too there's not a lot of fun. I think Dune Part 2 definitely built on a lot of the character stuff. It added a bit more vibrancy to it. And I think the character arc of Paul is getting a bit more interesting. So I think the Dune Part 3 is going to be adapting the Dune Messiah book, that
Okay.
story. So Paul is going to be a bit more of like a sort of warmonger and kind of it's going to go into a bit more challenging stuff. So I mean, this could possibly win me over, and I think I'm optimistic about this one. Um, I think because it's not trying to adapt that, because Dune Part One and Two are very much the first Dune book together. Because this is a bit more separate, I think I'll be able to enjoy this one a bit more on its own. So, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
definitely interested in this one. Yeah. But anyway, part two, the Oscars. That feeling when you
Yay!
didn't agree to this.
I can't believe
So
we
stupid.
generated a new Leo DiCaprio meme
Oh,
there and
it's
then.
brilliant. Yeah, it's
Leo is
brilliant.
the gift that keeps on giving.
But yeah, this is brilliant. So yeah, the obviously yeah, the 98th Academy Awards celebrate movies from 2025. Um, I of course watched the ceremony because I'm sad. Yes, I say it. Well, to be fair, it wasn't as late this year. Like last year's finished about 4 o'clock in the morning. I had like 4 hours of sleep. This time it was only about half two, so it was good. I managed to
Only
get some
half
sleep.
two.
I managed to get some
Jeez.
sleep
And
this time
this was Sunday night, wasn't it?
into Monday, yeah. And the next day I was
I'm too
directing a
employed
short
for
film for you.
this. I'm too
The
employed for
next day,
this.
the next day I was directing a short film for uni. So
Jeez.
yeah,
Bro,
so that was fun.
I wouldn't have stayed up. I would have just watched it the
Yeah.
next day.
No, you've got to be there for some of the shit that happened. But yeah, because
Yeah.
it was a little bit early on in the evening. It started about 10 o'clock, which is a bit. It was better. That was better for me. They did
Yes.
that for me. Yeah, they did that for me. And nobody else. Like literally just for me.
Yes,
Um,
yes, yes. You're that important.
I'm the only one in the UK watches the shit.
That's true. The viewing ratings did have dropped quite
Yeah,
substantially. So yeah,
yeah. I
you're
mean,
carrying for the UK.
yeah. I'm carrying just generally for the UK. Um, but yeah. So obviously for this, before we go into the actual winners, which we will discuss, and obviously this year because we're obviously doing this podcast and whatnot, we have a bit more stake in the actual films nominated, and we've kind of been exploring, more. Not only have we been exploring more, but I feel like the Oscars have been connecting more with generally films that have been more well received, and not just like one or two of the odd films that people know, and then the rest of them nobody knows.
I mean, for starters, I've actually
Um,
seen some of these films, which is
yeah, and
very
you have,
different to last year.
yeah, but we have some. I think I've seen pretty much the majority. Like of the best picture nominees, I've seen 8 out of the 10 of them. I did obviously watch a few in preparation, but yeah. But yeah, now that is now 4 for 4 for the years. Like Everything Ever All at Once, Oppenheimer, Anora, and One Battle After Another of best picture winners that I've seen before the ceremony, which I'm proud of. I'm proud of that shit. Um, but yeah, in terms of the actual ceremony, I will be honest, I do think last year's was more smooth. I think this year, the ceremony, there are a few more hiccups in terms of the actual show itself. I think there you could definitely tell some of the jokes didn't land. I think it was a bit more noticeable this time.
Wasn't there a
Yeah,
joke
not
about, I think, regarding Prince Andrew?
yes, yes, yeah, because it was like this is the first time in like 14 years that no British actors have been nominated for Best Actor, but at least we in the UK arrest our paedophile,
But
as is the Timothy Chalamet joke about ballet and opera.
yeah,
We got that.
God,
But the thing is,
poor
that's
guy
I say
couldn't
some
catch a break, could he? Not
yeah. I mean,
one award.
we might discuss that later on, but yeah. But thing is, when Conan I enjoy as a host, and even when some of the jokes don't always hit, I still enjoy him as a host. He's an affable presence, unlike Jimmy Kimmel, the
God, Jimmy
two
Kimmel.
years. Yeah, he was
Genuinely
there
the
to
unfunniest person I've ever seen, not gonna lie.
he was back presenting one of the awards. I was like, fucking hell, what's he doing here?
Get him
What's he
off!
doing here?
Get him
Go
off!
away, go away. Like I don't appreciate that his show got cancelled last year, but I also don't still find him funny. Like
Yeah, I mean,
you
yeah,
know,
sure, his show shouldn't have got cancelled, but he's not
yeah,
funny. What are
I
you
don't
doing
find him
here?
funny.
Coming in, make a quick little whiny joke about the fact that you got cancelled, and then just
Just go,
there's no
leave.
need. Stop. Just
Yeah,
who asked? Who asked,
yeah.
buddy? It's not about you
But to get
today.
but to get on like a lighter note, when the jokes hit from Conan, they really hit. As I say, some of the jokes in his opening monologue were great, and some of the skits he had throughout were really funny. There was a funny Casablanca one where they remade it, but to kind of suit modern attention span, so over explaining the dialogue because people watch movies on their phone. That was a really funny skit. And I think the absolute peak of it was at the opening with him spoofing the ending of Weapons, which is already in a hilarious scene. But
Yes, it is.
Him as Aunt Gladys running through with all the kids chasing him, running through all the nominated movies as well, in like Supreme, F1, K-pop, and whatnot.
I saw that
Um,
scene, yeah.
yeah, and not only is that a really fun way to celebrate all the different movies that have been nominated, but also fuck me, it was funny. It was genuinely really funny, and it was that's something. The highs of this year's ceremony were very high, so even when some
Yeah.
things weren't as smooth, I can overlook it because the highs were again very high. But let's say there were a couple of jokes that didn't work. Some of them did drag on. They cut the mic off a fair few times. That was a bit like what the. It was very noticeable, is what I mean.
Yes.
Um, yeah, but overall, like a decent ceremony. Even if I would say last year's, in terms of a production as a show, was better. I think it ran smoother last year, in my opinion, from what I could gauge. Um, but yeah, I think now we'll get onto the winners.
Yeah.
So I've written down all of the winners and whatnot. And I've got this in order of how they happened. So we're gonna go from the
Okay.
first award. Yeah, it's just because I was writing them down on the night I was watching. So we're starting off with Best Supporting Actress, which went to Amy Madigan for as Aunt Gladys in Weapons, which is the only
Good
nomination
start,
the
yeah.
film got. Obviously, we spotlighted that episode. We spotlighted that film in episode 14. By the way, one of the best episodes we've done. I love that episode.
I don't know why
Genuinely.
it's not got as many views as most of the other episodes. It's
I don't
it's a
know.
really good episode. You got weapons, you got the
Yeah.
Nolan stuff.
Yeah.
I
You
was
got
just
crack. You got me breaking my glasses.
yes, the Wolves thing with the glasses.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
But
yeah.
Amy Madigan, that was the only nomination Weapons got. And I didn't think she would get it, honestly. I thought it would go to maybe Tiana Taylor for One Battle for Another, who was fantastic, or one of the actors from Sinners got it, and a couple of the Sentimental Value actors got it nominated. I didn't think they were going to give it to Madigan, but I was thinking, I really hope they do because whilst the others, like Tiana Taylor, would have been like a second place because she was fantastic in One Battle. Amy Madigan as Aunt Gladys really stole the show and has become a bit of a horror movie icon in the past 6-ish months since Weapons came out. And I think that's really great. I saw for Halloween people were like cosplaying Aunt Gladys because it's such an iconic look. She gives so much energy and it's so creepy but so funny at the same
Yeah.
time. Her speech is really lovely. The fact that Ed, obviously she's with Ed Harris. His look when she won, that was like really sweet. Um, and just yeah, it was just such a sweet little moment. And I love the fact that she won, and the fact that Weapons only nom got a win. That makes me so happy because Weapons was one of the best films of last year for me. I really loved it.
Weapons with a hundred
Um,
percent win rate. Take that, sinners.
yeah, oh,
But I do
yeah,
feel I do feel like Weapons should have got more than just one nomination.
yeah.
I mean,
I
I
would have
would
loved
have
it to
put it
have a
up for Best
screenplay.
Picture, but I don't think
Possibly.
it met the criterias for that one. So
Mhm.
unfortunately,
Even still, I think personally, I would have. I can understand it not getting picture, but I think screenplay it should have gotten because I think it's
mm,
script, the actual storytelling, for me, is one of the strongest parts of Weapons, and I feel like that would have been a really worthy nom.
yeah, because
Um,
yeah, like definitely for storytelling, it's a really good
yeah,
movie. I'm
but
surprised there wasn't.
yeah,
Even things like I don't know, isn't there a category for like editing? Like the way they edit that movie together is
yeah,
pretty good.
yeah. I mean, we'll
Um,
get onto that because I
but
have some choice about that editing
yeah,
category. But yeah, I'm very happy. That's a great win. That was a great way to start it. That really, that's really good.
deserved
Then we
W.
have the Yeah, then we have the best animated short, which went to The Girl Who Cried Pearls. I don't really have any stake in the animated short, but
I've
congrats
I
to the
don't
winner.
watch short
Yeah,
films, not gonna lie.
yeah. But then best animated feature went to your faithful
Let's
K-pop Demon
go.
Hunters. What do you have to
Yes,
say about all this?
we love our Ghost Huntrix. Absolutely amazing. But
I didn't love it when they cut one of the people off as they were about to speak in their acceptance speech. That was
yeah,
kind of crappy.
yeah. Especially when you have times where they'll let someone go up and get their award and ramble on forever and ever, and they'll let people.
Adrian Brody.
Yeah, and then they'll let people spout their politics for 5 minutes, and then these people come up. They've won this award on a movie that Sony had no faith in, so they've sold it to Netflix, and then they just cut them off. And I think that's just really,
Yeah,
I think it shows that they just didn't really care because they didn't have anything to say they didn't have anything to say that they wanted them to say. So they just went, "Nah, you're
I
done
mean,
next."
as well, particularly as well, the fact that obviously a lot of these are Korean where English is not their first language as well. It
Yeah.
takes a little bit more time, and it's like what it happened with when Parasite won a few years back.
Mm.
The speech always took a little longer because English is not their first language. And when it won Best Picture, they were going to turn the lights down early, and then but then all the audience members went like, up, turn the lights back up and whatnot. That was a great moment. And it's like, yeah, but it shouldn't have happened in the first place. It shouldn't have happened here. But either way,
Yeah.
K-pop, a great win. Like I think quite predictable, quite
Yeah,
predictable
I
win. I
mean,
think
it's
we
been a
could see
whole
this coming.
global phenomenon,
Yeah,
it's massive.
yeah, but I'm not annoyed at this win because it is, it's a cracking film. I am interested to check out though another one of the nominees, Little Amelie, which I've heard really great things about. I think it's a French animated film. I knew that wasn't going to win, um, but I'm interested to check that one out because I've heard really good things about that. But yeah. Next up, anything else you want to say about K-pop? I mean, it's got another award later on. We can talk about that.
Yes, but I guess the
Yeah,
only other thing I'll say is really look forward to the next one. We've only got 3 years to wait. Let's go.
we're doing it! Yay! But yeah, next up, we've got a few technical wins for Frankenstein, which obviously we spotlighted on episode
Yes,
16.
Frankenstein. I love Frankenstein. I'm so glad it picked
So
up a bunch of technical awards.
So for this one, it won. I'll actually because it won three awards. It won best costume design, best makeup and hairstyling, and then later on it won best production design. Now,
All valid.
I think this, yeah, they're all valid. What I will say again, these ones again, I found quite predictable. I think a lot of the wins I did find fairly predictable. Like I knew that Frankenstein was going to get a lot of these technical ones because you will often find there'll be one film that gets a lot of like the main ones, like picture, director, screenplay, editing, and whatnot. A lot of the major ones, and then there's one that really hones in like the technical ones. So Poor Things a couple of years back, that got
Mm.
I think all three of those. Um, last year wasn't it was a bit more spread out last year to be fair. But you'll find that sometimes, and I think Frankenstein is quite similar to Poor Things, where it's like, a sort of horror, gothic, but very stylish in its sort of design. And like it looks gorgeous, the costumes look
Yeah.
great. Then obviously the makeup on the creature is worthy alone and whatnot. The
Mm.
production design, I love, like obviously we talked about it. I love, Victor's lab, with the
Yeah.
circular window. It all looks great. Um, but I think it could be interesting. Like for me, like production design maybe Money Supreme because obviously to like replicate like the historical 50s vibe, but also it has like a weird, more quirky edge to it. And I think spreading the awards out a bit more evenly, I think would have been a bit more interesting. But I'm not mad that Frankenstein won all three of those because, as I say, they are definitely worthy of them. But I also sometimes think about maybe it's a little bit. I think when it's a little bit predictable, it's like Frankenstein wins again and again and again. It's like, mm, I don't know.
Thing is, though, is all of
Um,
those different things are one for it's different people in each of those
yeah,
departments,
that is true.
and you shouldn't rob one department because two others won and give it to someone else instead, because that would
That is
undermine
true.
the work that that department did on the film. If it's a case of the same actor or the same director sweeps in multiple different categories, it's like, okay, you've given the same guy 3 awards, let's lay back.
Yeah,
But with this, I feel like because it's different people, it's different departments, different people working on it and whatever, that I wouldn't necessarily want to take one award away from it to give it
yeah,
something else because that's not fair on that
yeah.
department otherwise. But like
That's
I
fair.
feel like as much as all these were valid, I'm quite surprised. And again, because again, I wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of the film, but I'm surprised that Wicked for Good didn't get any sort of technical
It
nominations.
got
No
nothing.
costumes, no
It got
production, no
nothing.
sets, nothing. Not one
Especially with,
single nomination.
I mean, especially how it was showered with praise like the first movie showered with praise
Yeah.
last year. It got nothing. It got
I
no
thought at
look
least
in. It's like,
costumes for sure would get a
yeah,
nomination.
I'm so
I don't know
surprised
what's
at that.
going
But
on there. Is there a reason they just didn't nominate it for anything?
I don't know. I mean, obviously, I know it wasn't as popular. I know, obviously, for Good wasn't as
Fair, okay.
popular this time. I didn't mean to do that, but even
Sure.
still, like, it's surprising. Maybe it's because like a lot of the same creative team. I don't know, but even still.
Either way, I won't complain
But yeah,
because I'm happy Frankenstein picked up technical wins because I think Frankenstein
yeah.
got robbed in some other categories. But I'll get onto
I,
those when we get
I
to them.
I don't know because I mean it got a fair nominations. To be fair,
All right, Oscar
um,
Isaac got robbed. That's all I'm saying.
we will discuss that in a bit. But uh, but yeah. So next up we have this is quite an interesting one. So best casting. This is obviously the first ceremony where this award has been introduced.
Mm.
And a lot of us thought that it was going to go to Sinners because obviously the ensemble in that film is quite strong, and I think at the SAG Awards, the film won like best ensemble, the Actors Awards and whatnot. So, and I think I was pretty snapped. So it was surprising that one battle after another got it instead. But this is one of those actually where the more I think back on it, the more I actually see it. Even though I was surprised in the moment, to me, it makes sense because you've got a healthy bout of stars, Leo DiCaprio, Benicio del Toro, Sean Penn, Tiana Taylor, who's not, usually an actress, but great. Chase Infinity, it's her film debut as Willa, who's Leo's daughter. She's a star in the making. I guess, obviously, casting is about also not only just highlighting existing talent, but finding new talent. And I think that's something worth recognizing with Oscar as well. But also as well, the minor characters who appear throughout the film and like extras and whatnot. Casting encompasses a lot, and I think whilst I was surprised and didn't expect One Battle to pick this up, I can definitely see it the more I think about it. And this is the moment that when this got cast, I was like, okay, One Battle is definitely going to win Best Picture. I could just yeah, because it was very much between Sinners and One Battle. This race was it was one of the two. Um, and when it got cast, I was like, okay, it's going to be One Battle. You could call it one Oscar after another. That basically should have been the tagline for this awards ceremony.
Wow.
Yeah,
All I'll say in terms of casting is that Minecraft got robbed.
Matt Berry. Yeah, I mean Matt Berry was the announcer for this ceremony,
Yes, yes. Well,
so there is that.
maybe
So
maybe
Minecraft are
it's
getting repped.
it's somewhat somehow.
Yeah,
Nitwit is our goat. Nitwit is
yeah,
absolute legend. Can't wait for
they
Matt
love
Berry
that
to be
way.
the villain of the second movie.
You fucking
He
hell.
was supposed
Did
to be a
Minecraft
hero, Brian.
did Mine? It was said you would destroy the Sith, not join them.
I have joined the Sith because I am a villain.
Starting no.
Oh no.
Continuing with best live action short film, which was a tie. It's like the seventh time this has happened in Oscar history. But this was the live action short film category was a tie between The Singers, which I did watch. It's on Netflix. It's a decent little film. It has a nice emotional moment at the end, but I felt like it's a bit meandering for a lot of it, and I felt like I could have gotten more out of it had I enjoyed, had I been more invested throughout rather than just the very end. But some good music. So The Singers and Two People Exchanging Saliva was the other one, which
What a
fascinates me.
title.
It looks like a really interesting film. I'm going to watch it at some point.
Yeah.
Um, but I am fascinated to check it out. Maybe I might watch it after the record. Maybe I might do
Yeah.
that.
Well,
But
which
yeah,
by the way, we only recorded this like 2 days before this video came out, so he might have watched it already.
yeah.
You don't know.
Maybe we can
Um,
do a little insert. Yeah, like this is my thoughts on it. What I will say is what because Kamal Nanjiani, obviously the guy from the Eternals, and he's done a bunch of other things. He presented this award. Credit to him. Obviously, this is a very unprecedented thing that often doesn't often happen. He basically let the two production teams of the two short films take their turns. Like okay, you guys come up first, then you go sit down, then the other guys come up, and I think that was a really great way of handling it.
yeah.
So credit to him for doing it. Then next up we have the Best Supporting Actor Oscar, which another win for One Battle After Another, which went to Sean Penn for his character of Colonel Stephen Lockjaw. Now, this is a really interesting one because his performance in that film was phenomenal. Genuinely one of the best film villains we've had in recent memory. He's like sadistic. He's kind of pathetic in a way, but also very sinister and just has a brilliant screen presence throughout the whole film. It's intimidating. However, Sean Penn has already won two Oscars before this. I don't think he needed a third, right? Secondly, he's a bit of a knobhead anyway,
Yeah.
to put it blunt. He can be a bit of a knobhead at times. And three, he actively does not like the Oscars. He wasn't there and actively
He
doesn't give
wasn't
a shit
there.
about the
Oh
Oscars.
my
He
God.
wasn't there. No, he actively doesn't like the Oscars, doesn't go now.
I feel like you should
So
have to turn up to be able to get an award.
yeah, like it kind of feels a bit pointless, especially for somebody who's so vocally against the Oscars. It's like, why would you vote him anyway? Like, yeah, great performance,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It's weird because I say I love In a Vacuum. I think it's very much worthy of a of an Oscar, but I felt really deflated because it's like some of the other actors, like Delroy Lindo for Sinners, Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein.
I would have liked to have seen Jacob Elordi win for
Yeah,
Frankenstein.
I would
Um,
have Delroy Lindo would have been really good to be fair because he was great in Sinners.
which
Hell,
character
Benicio
was
del
he in
Toro,
Sinners again?
he was the older guy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
thought he
think
was really
either of
good. Yeah,
those would have been fine.
yeah, even Benicio del Toro for one battle as well. Or Stellan
Mm.
Skarsgård for Certain Men of Value as well, which was like a bit of a comeback performance. I did find it funny that because Kieran Culkin presented this one, he was like, "Yeah, Sean Penn didn't want to be here, so." Kieran Culkin just doesn't give a shit, and I love it. But yeah, yeah. Then we have the screenplay category. So we have Best Adapted, which went to One Battle After Another to Paul Thomas Anderson, and then Original Screenplay went to Sinners, obviously Ryan Coogler. This very much exemplifies the One Battle versus Sinners sort of race that this Oscars was. Obviously One Battle adapted from a book and Sinners original screenplay. I think both worthy winners, in my opinion. I think the scripts were great. Obviously had a lot of they had a lot to them. They had a lot of ideas and a lot of themes and whatnot. But I think were both structured incredibly well. Obviously with Sinners, when we talked about it, obviously kind of took the structure of One by Metallica.
Yes, I would
That
like
kind
to
of
accept the wins for Sinners on behalf of Metallica, on behalf of my boys, James, Lars, Kirk, and Jason. Thank you very much.
yeah,
Yes, I think that's a fair one. I think when
yeah,
we were talking about it in the weapons episode, I did slightly prefer weapons, so I would have liked to have seen that at least
yeah,
get nominated. But
yeah. I'd
I'm
appreciate that.
perfectly happy with Sinners winning the story because I think both of them are really
Yeah,
good.
yeah, definitely. And I agree. Like I said, One Battle as well. I think very strong script. I say the dialogue, the way that I think that's because Paul Thomas Anderson's characters, he writes them so well. They're so vivid. Like Bob is such a great sort of kooky protagonist. Same with Willa. Same with obviously Lockjaw as the villain. Same with some of the other side characters like Benicio del Toro's like Sensei character is really kooky and eccentric and whatnot. And he creates these really vivid characters in this very interesting world, a great dialogue, great scenarios, a great sort of flow and rhythm. There's some great set pieces, and I think One Battle is a very worthy winner, in
Yeah,
my
I mean,
opinion, for
I
that
can't
category.
speak too much on it because I've not seen the
Obviously,
movie,
yeah,
but I think FNAF 2 was robbed.
I will give you a fucking slap, mate, for that because
Bro's gonna
fucking
spawn at my front door and slap me Will Smith style.
oh yeah,
Jeez.
yeah, boy. Next up, we have the documentary ones, which Jimmy Kimmel was presenting these ones.
Oh God, get him out.
Ah,
He's not
yeah,
funny.
but yeah, no, he's not. But yeah, we had so best documentary short film went to All the Empty Rooms. Again, I don't really have any stake in this, although it looks like a pretty harrowing topic. This documentary was, and then
Yeah, I don't know
best
much about the
documentary.
documentaries.
But then documentary feature went to Mr. Nobody Against Putin, um, which I've heard interesting. Obviously, the Russia-Ukraine thing is very, obviously a hot topic in the past few years,
Still going.
and
We're like 5 years into
yeah,
it now.
4 years, yeah,
Jeez.
yeah. But this one kind of more so talks about like the Russian like propaganda sort of style, sort of that sort of side of it.
Mm.
But I've heard quite mixed things about this documentary. Apparently, I haven't seen it yet, and I will watch it at some point. Sorry, but I've heard that it is a bit. It's not the most challenging thing in the world. It's not the most challenging documentary. Which I don't know, but I need to watch it to make my own mind up. But I've heard mixed things about it, so maybe this wasn't the most worthy winner for this one. But I'm interested to see. I think it's an iPlayer at the minute, so I'll give it a shot. But yeah, next up we've got Best Original Score, which went to Sinners.
Yeah, valid.
Absolutely, I was.
Valid.
That is, if that didn't win that, I would have been fucking pissed because like the score for Sinners is phenomenal. The blues music, I adore it. I actually adore
Yeah,
it. It's like
it's got a really
the
good
music.
vibe.
The music is baked into the story. It's the
Mm.
soul of that movie, really. And it's Ludwig Göransson who also scored Oppenheimer and The Black Panther, which this is his third Oscar win, and he's like 41.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like he is almost like the new John Williams. I think he is.
Mm. Yeah.
His scores have been excellent. His Oppenheimer music was fucking phenomenal. His cinema music was amazing. Yeah,
I
and
think
actually, speaking of the music, oh sorry,
I think Sinners is a valid win for this one because the blues stuff, it is baked into
yeah,
the script. I do remember at the time when watching Frankenstein that I quite enjoyed the music that they made for that as
yeah,
well.
yeah. Alexander
But
Desplat's music, yeah,
I think the difference is though with like that is that the music is like added to it, whereas like you said with Sinners, it's baked into the formula of what Sinners is.
yeah. You
And so
couldn't
I
have that
get that, and
score.
I feel like
Yeah,
yeah, it deserves the win for that. Like it
You
is
couldn't
very
have
much
that.
what it is.
You couldn't have that movie without Ludwig's score, and it works.
Yeah.
It fits so well. And some of the tracks I've listened to, I love it. And speaking of music, actually, a little sort of break from the awards, but we also had two of the nominated songs performed.
Oh yeah.
We had I Lied to You from Sinners, where they kind of like replicate the scene where all like the musicians from time and space sort of come into it and whatnot on the stage. You had Jack O'Connell wearing his vampire
Oh.
fangs. But that was such a cool performance, the way the camera panned around. And to see that sort of live, that's that incredible scene in the film live was such a great it was so great. I adore that sequence from
Yeah.
that film. And then also Golden got performed live and whatnot, which was amazing. I sometimes think, is Golden a bit too overplayed? And then I hear it and it's like, no, it's a
Yeah,
great song. So
exactly.
yeah, it's so great. And like all the audience had like little sort of like light up microphones. And they like sort of waving. It's just a
Oh, they
really
got
fun number.
the little like band logos on the sticks. I forgot what they call them. My coworker will kill
Yeah,
me for not knowing because she's big into K-pop.
yeah.
I think they
I know
might
what you
just
mean.
be called
Yeah,
light sticks, but
yeah. But
every
they
band
really, yeah,
has one with their own logo and colors. Like every
yeah,
K-pop band has one.
yeah. They have,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, Golden's great. I haven't seen the performances yet. I need to watch those two performances,
Yeah, definitely. But they
but
were
yeah,
really well
I do
staged, well
really love.
choreographed, great lighting.
They were both really
Yeah,
good songs. Like this, the song in Sinners in that scene of the movie is one of the standout scenes.
yeah.
That and I
It's my
think the
favorite
scene
scene.
with the Irish jig going on as well. That was
Oh
also really
yeah,
good.
Rocky Road to Dublin. Rocky Road to
That's
Dublin.
the
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
But
love
then
that bit.
yeah, Golden is also really good. And
Yeah, actually, should we go to the original song?
yeah, let's go into
Obviously,
the original song.
this is a little bit later into the night, but a best original song, of course, went to Golden. Like it was either going to be that or I Lie to You. It was not going to be the other three. It was going to be one of those two.
Golden's just
And
such a
even
massive hit though. Like
yeah,
I didn't doubt it for a second. But with
yeah.
Golden, it's like Golden isn't even like the best song in the movie. But
No,
like
that's the
because
thing. Yeah,
it's so accessible and like it's built to be a mainstream massive chart success.
yeah,
That's his whole purpose in the movie is to
yeah.
basically be a mainstream success. And it's got a really nice message through it as well about
And when she goes at that octave as well, it's like, oh,
yeah.
that is the
It's
stuff
got this
dreams are
it's
made
got
of.
that great narrative throughput of where you came from and where you've ended up
Yeah,
and being, who you're supposed to be, even though it's a little restrained in that song compared to later on in songs like What It Sounds Like. But personally I think the best song of the entire thing is probably Your Idol. Uh
yeah, I can see that.
Either Your Idol or What It Sounds Like. I do love Soda Pop, but it's just objectively not the best
Yeah,
song. But I really
yeah,
love it.
fair.
But like, yeah,
Yeah,
Golden's not the best
but
song in the
Gold
movie, but it's such a
might be
phenomenon.
winner.
It's so big and it's massive. Everyone knows
Yeah,
it. Even my parents think it's an okay song. So, I
okay, so
yeah, so
yeah,
I think it's I'm really
yeah.
glad to see it win.
Very worthy winner. Annoying that they cut the speech off
Yeah,
early,
I'm really
but
annoyed
what are you
about the
gonna do?
fact they cut the
What are you
speech
gonna
off.
do?
It was
Yeah,
very uncalled for.
yeah. But circling back now to the other awards, so we got in terms of like sound and whatnot. Best sound went to F1, which is his only win this night. And you know what? It was nice to have something a bit different win. Obviously it's the loud movie, it's got racing, and the sound design was fantastic and whatnot. So I'm not mad at this win, and I'm happy that it wasn't just Sinners again or one back. It was something a little bit different. And I would have liked to
Yeah,
see a little bit
fair.
more variety. As much as I adore Sinners and One Battle and Frankenstein, those three kind of dominated, and I would have liked to see just, maybe a couple of the categories get like a bit more attention because there's a fair few films that got nothing. And that leads me on to my biggest upset of the night. Film editing went to one battle after another. Now, it's not a poorly edited film. Like, obviously, it's nearly 3 hours long and it's well paced and whatnot, but the editing is relatively standard. I am annoyed that Marty Supreme did not take this. This is my most disagreeable award of the night. Because Marty Supreme's up for 9 awards and got nothing, which for me is the biggest snub of them all, because that film is something else. It really is. And the editing in that film is what makes it. Again, even though that's 2.5 hours, that flies by more so than one battle does. And it does that great thing where editing isn't just cutting between scenes, it's making you feel emotions through the cut, making you feel impacts through the cut, through the way something's edited. I mean, even like transitions, like from the title sequence where you've got like sperm running through, and then it transitions to a ping pong ball, like stuff like that. But I know it sounds silly, but it's that kind of crazy, bonkers, out there, imaginative stuff that Marty Supreme does really well. And it really puts you in the chaotic nature of Marty as a character. And I feel like giving it to one battle was just kind of giving it for the sake of the fact that it was gonna sweep. So yeah, just chuck in another one. It's like it didn't need to take that one, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I can't comment on either of those, but I feel like the editing of it was editing, wasn't it? The topic editing.
Yeah,
I feel like the editing of weapons was really good. I don't know why I didn't get
possibly, yeah.
nominated. The way they cut between different like plot through points from different
Hmm.
perspectives, quite a few of the different scene cuts they did were good. So
Yeah,
I feel like I could have done with a nom at least. But I don't know.
yeah.
I don't really have the eye for editing. That's not so much
I
my
mean,
wheelhouse. Whereas for you, it's
I
more of
mean, I
a
did. I mean, to be fair, I did do a whole module with uni about like editing and post production, and like not
yeah.
just how you edit practically, but also like the theory behind it, the thought that goes behind it,
Mm,
and how an edit can reflect the sort of human experience in weird ways, even though editing is not something we experience.
yeah.
There's a lot of like psychological stuff that goes into that, like almost like one blink can represent one cut.
I mean,
It's
what
there's
do you
so
mean?
much,
I experience editing. I crossfade out of my house and into my office every day. I just
yeah, definitely,
crossfade.
yeah.
Uh, and then
But
I
there is
wake
like
up in the
there is
morning and I get the Star Wars title sequence coming up on me, telling me about the day. So,
yeah.
I experience editing. I don't know. It must be a skill issue.
I get a title card come up every time I speak. But the thing is, with editing, there is a lot of like psychological stuff that is genuinely fascinating, and for me, that's why I value stuff like Mighty Supreme, like Nora last year, because that had a lot of that, and that was one of the films that I really latched onto in my module when we sort of were sort of analyzing editing in film. So I would like to see Mighty get that, to be honest. Even F1 was like because of how immersive it was with the race scenes and whatnot. That would have been a better winner, to be honest.
Yeah.
Moving on then to best cinematography, which honestly I thought was going to go one battle because the cinematography was fantastic in that one, some very experimental stuff. That's what I'm talking about, some things that are unique and different. However, and I also Train Dreams could have been a good one because that had some beautiful cinematography as well. But it ultimately went to Sinners, which I was surprised about, and a lot of us were surprised about. But I was happy about that. Not only was it getting something else, not only does the film it also looks gorgeous as well. Like you can't deny that. Like the cinematography is gorgeous. Even with obviously the Smokestack twins, the camera work has to be composed in a way where you can composite the two actors sort of seamlessly, and so the shots look good and crisp and convincing to sort of accommodate for that. There's a lot of skill that technical sort of goes into that,
Mm.
and I think that's absolutely worth. And along with all the colors and the sunsets, it looks so picturesque and gorgeous. And as well, the winner of this category is the first woman to ever win cinematography in nearly 100 years,
Oh, wow.
which that's why I think with these technical categories, I think particularly you don't, I think generally speaking, probably just like general attitudes over the years, but I don't think you often consider women in a lot of these categories. Like cinematography, I don't think you don't tend to think of like female cinematographers or whatnot. It was like editing a few years back with Oppenheimer, Jennifer Lane on that. You don't tend to think of women in these kind of more technical spaces. So it's nice to see that. Whereas I think you often think of women in like costume and makeup, and arguably a bit of like a
There's a
bit of a
stereotype
misogynistic,
there.
a
Yeah.
bit of a misogynistic stereotype.
Yeah.
But it's
In all
nice to
fairness, I
see
don't
that
think of
highlighted.
anyone in either role because I have no idea who edits anything and who
Yeah. Well,
cinematographizes anything, if that's a word. I have no idea
who
who does
shoot?
those jobs.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I don't think
iron
about it as oh a guy did it, oh a woman did it.
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
Uh
I don't tend to. Yeah. Ironically, though, actually, in terms of editing, back in the old days of film, it usually would have been women who edited because you
yeah.
had to obviously physically cut the film and chop it up, and women were more delicate and as opposed to men who would be a bit more harsh with the cuts and whatnot.
He said
So
women are
typically,
delicate, cancel him.
fuck off.
No. I get what you mean. But
Yeah,
yeah.
but that typically is what happened back in like the sort of older Hollywood era. Yeah, but cinematography Sinners very well deserved. Then
I
we
think
have
though with
um,
cinematography real quick though I don't know if it got nominated but if it didn't I'm quite surprised 28 years later did have some very interesting cinematography.
yeah, I didn't get anything. I didn't get any nominations,
I
but
would have at least thought maybe a nomination, not necessarily a
maybe yeah.
win, but because it did have some very interesting
Yeah.
cinematography in there with the way it
Yeah,
shot certain scenes and the way I suppose it's a bit of the editing as well and whatever, but
maybe.
You know,
I think it could have been an
I think they
interesting
should
one
have
to
got a
have.
costume nomination for the Jimmy Gang, but
No, no, no way. Yeah, maybe makeup though for zombies.
maybe make up for the
Yeah,
giant prosthetic dong.
that's this year's. That's oh my God.
The
Get your camera back up.
the camera was
Get your
looking,
camera.
bro. The camera
Get
was
your camera.
looking.
Get your. Come on. Stop being a peeping tom. Um, either way, the Bone Temple was this year technically, so it wouldn't have been ineligible.
No, but he was still that Samson was still in 28 years later.
Oh shit. Yeah, but his
Yeah.
dong wasn't as prominent.
No, it was still there.
I don't know. So
Now God
either
stop
stop.
it.
Get it up. Oh,
Get it up. Bro.
moving on to best international feature. Moving on. Shut up, you mature child. I'm so stupid. Moving on, because
Get
we've got
it
very little time
up.
for this one left. Best international feature, sentimental value. It was going to be either this or The Secret Agent because they both got a Best Picture on. I've heard strong things about sentimental value. Stellan Skarsgård, Elle Fanning. It's like an interesting kind of film. Maybe a bit more a typical kind of Oscar affair, like a more low key drama, but like, it looks kind of interesting. And so I'm going to check it out. And like performances, like all like it got four acting noms this film did, so that's something. So I'm interested to check it out, particularly for Stellan Skarsgård's acting. You know, and then we've got the big four: director, actor, actress, and picture. So we'll go the acting one. So best actress went to Jessie Buckley for Hamnet, the only one that won. And personally, for me, I found Hamnet quite a stuffy, kind of a little bit pretentious at times. But Jessie Buckley stole the show in that film, so I am not annoyed at that win because I think that was absolutely worthy. The raw emotion she brought to that role was fantastic, and no complaints there. And again, nice to see another film sort of highlighted, in its category, even if we all kind of saw Jessie Buckley come in with her win. Then Best Actor went to Michael B. Jordan for Sinners.
I think that's fair because he did play two roles. But to
Yeah,
that same extent, Sonic 3 wasn't at the last Oscars, it wasn't eligible. So why wasn't it eligible for this one? Jim Carrey should have got an Oscar for playing two roles.
because that was a 2024 movie.
Yeah, but it wasn't eligible for last year's Oscars, and I don't know why.
It wouldn't have been this. It wouldn't have been for this year though.
So when was it supposed to get the Oscars? Because what Jim Carrey was robbed.
I have no idea. But
R.I.P.
either
R.I.P.
way,
Jim Carrey.
either way.
We've got the
This
quote
one,
now.
this one was definitely. This was a tough race between either Michael or Timothy Chalamet for Mike Supreme,
Mm.
and this was tricky because either one of them I would have been happy with. I think after Timmy made his comments about no one giving a shit about ballet and opera, I'm like, come on, you're being a bit of a dick there, mate. Like, there's an argument to be made of what you were saying. There is definitely an argument about like ballet and opera's relevance nowadays. It's definitely not the dominant form of art. It's definitely not the dominant
Definitely
art
not,
form that it
no.
used to be. But the way he was saying it, he came across as an arrogant prick, frankly. So kind of didn't want him to win in the end, even if his performance was stellar and the best of his career so far. But the dude's 30. He's got a few years on him, so he'll be fine.
I just can't believe that this Michael B. Jordan is the same Michael B. Jordan who was in Fantastic Four. Uh,
Yeah, he's come a long way.
he's
He's
come a
come a long
long
way.
way since Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
But to be fair though, he wasn't the weak point of Fantastic Four, so
No,
But
no,
and
no.
he played two roles. He played them both very well.
Well,
I saw
and
someone notes
he
that I
managed to
think in the
differentiate.
movie, I think one of the twins has dimples and one doesn't, which is a nice little kind of. It's kind of related, but I think that's kind of a nice little detail to
Yeah,
differentiate them. But yeah, he plays
I
both of
think
them
that
really well, and it's
I think
quite hard to
how he
do two
different.
characters without making them the same character.
Yeah, and he differentiates them really well. Like one of them's quite sort of, calm and collected and reserved, and one of them's a bit more kind of blasé and a bit and whatnot.
Yeah,
And then obviously when I can't remember which one it is, but when the one of them gets sort of possessed by the vampires, again, it's that switching. It's another layer where that you see those differences. That it's quite subtle,
mm.
but I do think it's really strong.
So I think it's valid.
And
I think it's a valid one.
I am very happy with this. I think the fact that Sinners wasn't getting much this night, I'm happy it got that.
Yeah, because I think Sinners just
Yeah,
set a record for the most like failed nominations or something.
losses 12,
Because it got
16
nominated for
noms.
so many things.
Yeah, it had further to fall. Because it was the one Oscar after another. Because Best Director
Yeah.
went to Paul Thomas Anderson, and Best Picture went to One Battle after another. Now PTA, acclaimed director for many years. I'm glad that he's got an Oscar. You know, it's a bit like Nolan for Oppenheimer or Scorsese with The Departed. You know, it's great that he's got the Oscar now because he's a genuinely fantastic director and has such a creative, unique idea for characters and stories and whatnot. So I'm really happy to see him get his moment. And yeah, Best Picture went to One Battle, which whilst they personally would have preferred Sinners of the two because it was going to be one of those two, I'm not unhappy with One Battle because for me, it's the kind of film that say 5 to 10 years ago wouldn't have won. I can tell you that I can guarantee that it would not have won because it is an action thriller the protagonist is a stoner dad where there's a gag about him trying to figure out a password over the phone and keeps failing. Um, it's the kind of film that is so audacious and bold and quirky that genuinely it's not the kind of stuffy, boring drama. And even,
Mm,
it does definitely have a political edge to it. And is very, timely of like it's very much capturing the zeitgeist and whatnot, as most best picture winners do. But I feel like One Battle does it in a way that actually is challenging. That isn't like some other films can, sort of they can come across as like, oh, we're very daring and challenging. They're quite safe and quite,
mm,
they're not too challenging to actually upset. Where One Battle will actually ruffle some feathers. But even
yeah.
people who don't like the film can still acknowledge that as a film, the craft is superb. Like the acting, the cinematography, the overall, the actual filmmaking, the direction is great. So I think it's a win that I'm very happy with. If the front one was like Hamlet or some shit, I wouldn't have been happy because it's just like a bit boring. But One Battle, I'm not complaining personally.
I think my final notes on those just last couple of awards.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
I I would have liked to have seen Oscar Isaac get nominated at least for a Best Actor. Not necessarily win,
Me
but
too, yeah.
nominated. He was very good in Frankenstein. I mean, yeah,
Mhm.
sure, maybe he wouldn't beat Michael B. Jordan, but I still think there was a nom to be had there because
Yeah, I think
he is a good actor. Additionally, Best Picture, One Battle After Another. As I've said earlier, I've not watched it. I'm interested to see it because we had a lot of discussion between takes about it. Because I haven't watched it, I'm wondering whether or not, like, as you mentioned, the political side of it and the capturing the
mhm.
current zeitgeist of the world has helped it get to that position of winning. So I'm
Maybe.
interested to watch it
Mhm.
and see if it is a good movie when you take the politics out of it, if it's just well made or whatever. So I do
Yeah,
want to watch it. I'm interested.
yeah, definitely.
But overall,
My
you know
my
what? This
my
is
my
quite an
overall,
agreeable ceremony overall. Like a lot of it is
yeah,
stuff that deserved to win. There's no fucking
my overall
Emilia
stance.
Perez type shit going on,
Yeah,
so
fuck that shit. Yeah, my overall stance on One Battle is that I do find while it's not subtle about its politics, it's far more nuanced, and there's a lot more there than I think either side give it credit for.
mm,
Either side of the political spectrum, I think don't give enough credit for. There's a hell of a lot more in terms of like the characters and the personal relationship, particularly with Bob and his daughter. I think there's just a
yeah,
hell of a lot of heart there that people often overlook, which I think is a shame. But yeah,
yeah.
overall, I think a really, really solid batch of winners this time around. And that is the 2026 Oscars for you.
Congrats, we have successfully host maxed the Oscars episode. And
Hell yeah.
welcome to part three of our show, in which we're now just going to discuss movies that were nominated for Worst Picture at the Razzies that didn't necessarily deserve to be nominated for Worst Picture at the Razzies. Because a lot of movies get nominated and then years later we go, oh, that was actually pretty good. That's sort of a
Yeah.
cult classic. But some of it is absolute dog shit. Take
Mhm.
2015 or 16 or whatever it was, where Fantastic Four and 50 Shades of Grey tied because they were both that dog shit. And last year
Yeah.
we had Madam Web, and the year before we had Morbius, and this year War of the Worlds. War of the Worlds and Snow White sweep so many of the awards.
War of the White.
Dwarves of the World.
Snow Worlds. Anyway, that's the thing. I think we were originally going to make it like worst Razzie winners.
But then it turns out most of
But
the winners really are just shit. So
yeah, so it's a bit kind of it's a bit yeah, it's a bit redundant to really spot like that. But
so you know.
yeah, so that would be quite interesting. So who wants to go first?
Um I'll go first.
Okay.
I'll go first with a movie that I will defend to the end of my life. I love this movie. And on the spirit of mentioning Bruce Willis earlier, it's one of my
It's
favorite Bruce
Armageddon.
Willis films. It's Armageddon. I love Armageddon.
Yeah.
I'm aware of the certain plot contrivances and failures of the movie. Why would you
The
teach
movie
oil drillers to go to space instead of just teach astronauts oil drilling? Way easier that way around. Ben Affleck's actually
every
said this on the cast commentary, and the director told him to shut up. It's
uh,
dumb, but it's got a really stacked cast. It's really fun. It's feel good. It's very similar to like other apocalyptic movies. Like it's very
yeah.
similar to Deep Impact. It's a bit like 2012, Moonfall, those kind of things. But
Yeah.
like Bruce Willis is really good. Ben Affleck, a very young Ben Affleck, is very good in this movie. The whole cast is great. Steve Buscemi's really fun in the
Is he in
movie.
it?
Yeah,
He's
Steve
in it.
Buscemi's in it. He's always really
That's
fun whenever
comedy.
he's in a movie.
Oh,
Um,
brilliant.
yeah, I like the part where he sat on the meteor and said, "Do you think God stays in heaven because he too fears what he created?"
I do honestly, I do want to watch Armageddon because it doesn't like even though it's a bit of a dumb fun movie, it looks quite
I
enjoyable and
mean,
quite
yeah, it's a
just a
Michael
good
Bay
time.
film. It's got really cool
Yeah,
explosions. The
but also
soundtrack's
it's like
great.
Aerosmith. I don't
Aerosmith, I don't
wanna
want to miss
miss
a
a
thing.
thing.
That's such a
I
good
love that song.
song,
I
and the
love
way
that
it's
song. It's
used
great.
in the ending is so beautiful.
I love that. Yeah,
I
yeah. The thing
it's
is,
like it's
thing
one
is,
of the
it's like '90s
earliest.
Michael Bay.
Yeah, it's
So
1998.
it's,
It's one of the early instances as well that I remember watching a film and the ending actually making me feel something. Like the ending genuinely got me a little bit, and I was like, oh damn, wow. But yeah, I really love the film. But no, Steve Buscemi does not do the line about God staying in heaven. Instead, he rides a nuke
oh,
like a horse. So make of that what you will. Uh,
that's very interesting. I want to watch this movie now. You never sold
it,
me more on a
it,
movie than this.
it's a great film. It's a great film.
I knew you were
Um,
going to do this one. I knew you were going to do Armageddon.
Yeah, I told you on the train back from the
Yeah, I
panto
knew.
that when we were looking up all the winners, I said I'm doing
Yeah,
Armageddon. Like
I
I
knew you were.
love
Yeah.
Armageddon. It is a good film. Yes, it's
Hmm.
dumb, but they don't teach space people to do oil stuff. Yes, why would you? Logistically, you wouldn't have time to teach these oil people how to be an astronaut before the world dies. But it's
Yeah.
really cool. The set stuff is good, like the set pieces when the meteor hits like various like landmarks of the world, like little fragments of it cause destruction and everything. The way like the scenes on the shuttles are filmed are really cool. There's a lot of stuff in the movie that just sticks with me as well. It's
Yeah.
like it's such a good movie. Like, it's not like a masterpiece or anything, but to be fair, most Michael Bay movies aren't a masterpiece except maybe The
But
Rock.
also, but also, as I
Um,
said, this is '90s Michael Bay, so it's like The Rock is very fun, and I imagine this is like kind of before his movies started really going down the
to be
drain.
fair, I've got another Michael Bay movie to cover soon. But
It's going to be a Transformers movie,
I'm a
isn't it?
little bit of a Michael Bay defender, to be honest.
Really, really,
Yeah, not so much with the
yeah,
later Transformers films. He really dropped the ball on the last two. But I do like
yeah.
his movies. I mean, yes, a lot of the time it's just dumb explosions and Megan Fox, but I'm here for it. I am here for that.
See,
I will defend this formula of movie.
yeah. It's interesting you mentioned that actually, because obviously Michael Bay directed, but also producing the film is Jerry
Jerry
Bruckheimer. I don't know if
Bruckheimer,
you,
yes.
yeah, and obviously he's been a action producer for a long time. Obviously, he produced this. Produced obviously Pirates of the Caribbean films. He
Yep.
produced a lot of like big action movies and whatnot. And obviously this is kind of obviously at the time it was looked down on. He got a Razzie nom. But his two recent ventures, obviously F1 he produced, Top Gun Maverick he produced. They got Best Picture noms at the Oscars. So it's just
Yeah,
quite
he's a
interesting how
really
the
good
tables have turned.
producer. Yeah.
Yeah, like his films, they are reliably fun. And one of my first film I'm going to talk about is also a blockbuster that Jerry Bruckheimer produced. And if interesting, I mentioned Pirates of the Caribbean. It's from the same director as the first three Pirates movies, Gore
Gore
Verbinski.
Verbinski, yeah.
It's The Lone Ranger.
Oh yeah, the Lone Ranger. That was the one
This is a
with. Was that the
throwback.
one with
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp? Yeah, I've seen it,
Johnny
but I
Depp.
saw it back
Johnny
when it
Depp.
like came out, so I don't remember it.
Yeah, 2013. Yeah, Johnny Depp as a Native American man. That
I
is
don't think that would
unfortunate.
go over anymore.
Yeah, even then, I'm surprised in 2013 that went over. I think, to be fair, it was controversial casting then.
To be fair, I think he plays the role well.
Yeah, like he's good. Although I can't really take him seriously when he's constantly going like, "You are just another white man." It's like, so are you, mate. I can't really take that seriously. I can't really take that seriously at all. But
It feels like
yeah, the
the
Lone Ranger.
inverse of when in Tropic Thunder Robert Downey Jr. says "you
Yeah,
people," and it
yeah,
feels like the
it's just
inverse of that.
but played straight, but played straight. But yeah, the Lone Ranger is a film that has been slated. Are you done with Armageddon, by the way? I felt like I just kind of jumped.
To that, there's not much more to say about it. Michael
Yeah,
Bay, explosions, Bruce Willis, great acting, great
Aerosmith.
ending. Aerosmith, it's just fucking
Yeah,
awesome, mate.
yeah,
It's
fair.
such a great film. Like, it's not
Yeah,
fucking Shakespeare, but it's
it's
Michael
Armageddon.
Bay. It's
It's
Armor fucking
Armageddon,
Geddon. Let's go.
and this is the Lone fucking Ranger. But yeah, so yeah, the Lone Ranger came out 2013. I do remember this coming out. I just remember it being a thing. I remember the Lego set tie-ins for this movie. Um, I remember Johnny Depp was in it, and that was controversial. But I don't really remember anything else about it. And
Wow.
I just remember it was a film that was kind of slated, and nobody really liked it. But there's a bit of it has a little bit of a cult following. It's a small cult following, but I'm happy to be part of that because honestly, this film's pretty good. Like it's a genuinely solid action movie. Like obviously based on the old Lone Ranger TV show, the kind of old Western show. And you know me, I love a good Western, like a lot of the old classic Westerns, like the Clint Eastwood ones. I love a lot of the John Ford ones and whatnot. So to see them, and you don't really get many modern Western adventure films nowadays.
No.
So to see one, so to see one kind of the modern era, like CGI and like a lot more technical prowess, I think it's really cool. And it's a proper good old fashioned swashbuckling, Western adventure yarn, with a fun, lead duo. You've got John Reed slash the Lone Ranger, who kind of starts off as a bit more like a sort of bookish lawyer who contrasts well with Tonto, who's Johnny Depp's character, the Native American fighter. There's a fun kind of odd couple kind of dynamic, very contrasting and whatnot. It's quite fun. John Reed kind of gives me vibes of like James Stewart in Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, another great western from like the 60s. That kind of kind of very sort of very much like a bookish kind of theoric, but isn't very practical. And then he becomes more practical when he becomes the Lone Ranger and whatnot. But overall, it's just a really fun, exciting action film. There's some great set pieces, some fun characters. The two leads are fun. Helen Bonham Carter's great with like she's got like a gun in like her heel. It's really cool like gadget. Some fun set pieces. It does admittedly drag in the middle. I can't lie, and that's the main thing dragging the film down. I think the pacing and John Depp's casting is a bit odd, to say the least. Um, but overall, yeah, I think it's a really solid, fun, exciting blockbuster. And what elevates this film, what makes this really worth seeing is the climax, which is like whole like train fight sequence. It is fucking amazing. Genuinely is so exciting and so action packed. You've got the Lone Ranger riding a horse through the carriages and like shooting the bad guys from the other carriage. It's so cool. It's so stupid, but I love it, and it's so well directed. And as a Gore Verbinski, who did the Pirates films, if you like those films with their action set pieces, you'll love this. And I love westerns more than like pirate and fantasy movies. So
Mm.
whilst this is not as good as Dead Man's Chest or At World's End, but I actually prefer this to Curse the Black Pearl. There we go. I said it.
I think that's fair. To be fair,
That's a hot
I
take.
was never the biggest fan of Curse of Black Pearl.
Yeah.
But to be fair, like
But
I
obviously, but
watched this movie Lone Ranger back when it came out ish, so
yeah.
maybe a year later because it would have been when it came on TV. Um,
Yeah.
and then obviously I watched the Pirates movies when I was younger, and I thought they were all okay. I didn't appreciate the Pirates movies, particularly two and three, more until like I was an adult, until like I was like 18. I
Yeah.
rewatched them. I was like, oh wow, these are amazing. So I probably
Yeah.
could do a watching Lone Ranger again, but I have seen all of them relatively recently. I think 2022 ish.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't necessarily rate Curse of Black Pearl that highly, so I wouldn't be surprised if
Mm.
Lone Ranger's better. But
But a lot of
I definitely
obviously
wouldn't. I don't expect it
a
to be
lot of
better
people
than
love.
Dead Man's Chest and Outward's
I
End, 'cause
I don't
those
think it is.
were
I say
those are peak
a lot of
films.
people, but a lot of people do love Black Pearl and all the original
Mm,
Pirates
yeah,
trilogy, and a lot of people really slate the Lone Ranger, and it's like. No, this is actually really good. And like Gore, I think he's got a new movie coming out, but this was a box office flop. And I'm not surprised that this got a Razzie nom at the time because it was really slated, but
good
I
luck,
hope
have
that
fun,
people
don't
do.
die. That's his new movie.
Yeah, that's the new one. Yeah, I think he's kind of coming out of director jail now. But hopefully the Lone Ranger starts to get a bit more reappraisal as it's been like 13
Yeah.
years. I hope they get some more reappraisal. So join me in my quest to reappraise this forgotten gem of a film. because nobody talks about this film anymore. Like, it's a shame.
No, I mean I know I always remember it exists, but no one ever talks about it.
Yeah, it's a shame because I think there's like, and I'd love to see like more proper, good old-fashioned like Western adventure films like this one. I'd like to see more, maybe sort of refine some of the things that don't work about this film and make some great, great stuff. I think there's definitely potential. Anyway, what is your? That's all my stuff on the Lone Ranger. Also, goat score from Hans Zimmer, phenomenal. I think it's Hans Zimmer
Well,
who
it's
did the score for
Hans.
this
If
one.
it's Hans Zimmer, then yeah, it's gonna be a good score.
Was it? Was it Hans Zimmer? I can't remember. I think it. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was Hans Zimmer. So yeah.
Yeah, so it's gonna be
Um,
good.
but you've got what I can't remember the track, but it's the track, but it's the they've got
Yeah.
that. It's so well placed and it's so well timed with the climax, like the gunshots. It's just amazing. Um, but yeah, Lone Ranger, really underrated little film. So that's my first pick. So what's your second pick?
So I'm gonna
Do you
go
want to go
back
for
to
the Michael
Michael
Bay
Bay.
maybe?
Yeah, I'm gonna go
Yeah.
back to Michael Bay and then leave the last one as a surprise. So Michael Bay, of quite famously for most people in the 2000s onwards, most people know that he made the five Transformers movies before ultimately packing it in. And for some reason, he's coming back to make the next one. Uh,
But he didn't do Rise of the Beast, did he?
nope, that was not him. No, nor was
What a
Bumblebee.
shame.
But
Yeah, I know
for some
Bumblebee
reason,
wasn't.
the next one he's come back for it, and I'm not particularly sure why, and I'm a little skeptical. But that's besides the point. Five Transformers movies. The first one did not get nominated. All four of the other ones got nominated for Worst Picture at the Razzies. All four of them. I will grant that the fourth one is extremely dull and the fifth one is extremely stupid. The second one I really enjoy, but I could see why it got nominated. It does have the racist robots, so
Oh
uh
dear. Oh
yeah,
dear.
Skips and Mudflap are kind of parodies of black people that are a little bit in poor
Oh,
taste. So
oh
I
dear.
get it. But I'm gonna defend the third one for my life. Because
Is that Dark
Transformers
of the
Dark
Moon?
of the Moon is a good movie. I will concede that four and five are bad, two is questionable, but I will not speak ill of number three. Number three is a good movie. So first of all, the obvious point to make about these movies is that they have the cleanest CGI you will ever see. For some reason, the CGI in the Transformers movies is just beyond exceptional every time.
Yeah, why? Why is it so good, man? It's not funny.
Exactly! Like, the
Not fair.
CGI far exceeds any other aspect of the movie, except maybe Optimus Prime's voice acting, because, Optimus
I am
Prime,
a, I
awesome.
am Optimus Prime, and I want a refund.
But no, the CGI is always so clean, really good. Um, yeah, Dark of the Moon.
Considering these films are like 15, 20 years old, that's impressive.
It's like the same wheelhouse as like Pirates of the Caribbean 2 and 3, like the Davy
Yeah,
Jones
yeah.
CGI. CGI was so good in the late noughties and the early tens. I don't know what has happened. Because like some movies that they crank out in 2020s have really bad CGI. I'm looking at you,
Yeah,
Love
like
and
no,
Thunder. I'm looking at you. But
I'm looking at you,
and
Moon Knight car chase.
looking at you, Doctor Strange's third eye. Uh, but
Looking at you, Quantumania.
Quantumania, you win with Modok on Quantumania. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, so like some of the movies now have really bad CGI, but these ones are really good. But yeah, so Transformers 3. So Transformers 3, basically after the second one and Optimus Prime was just like absolutely destroyed the ops. Megatron's gone into hiding again. And then they're like, okay, well they're gonna go explore the dark side of the moon. Go figure. And it turns out there's a transformer there that's not really affiliated with either faction, Sentinel Prime. You get the impression that he's an Autobot and that he's a good guy, and they bring him down to Earth, and you know he starts like teaming with the Autobots and everything as the Decepticons start getting their act together, and then you know also like Shockwave, and he's got this giant fucking worm thing. It's just like the amount of CGI on that thing. I've heard stories that apparently the CGI for Shockwave's worm thing almost blew out like their entire processors or something.
Bloody hell.
Genuinely, it was either that or Devastator in the second film, but I think it was Shockwave. Um, but yes, the CGI is great. But then yeah, so it turns out Sentinel Prime not such a good guy, and he's decided after seeing both sides of the war that he just kind of wants to, what doesn't really care anymore, just wants to bring Cybertron back. And so Sentinel betrays the Autobots. He kills Ironhide in like the most brutal way ever. like corrosive acid on a transformer, absolutely vile. Genuinely shocked me when I watched that as a kid. But yeah, so Sentinel starts setting up this plan to like bring Cybertron back to Earth. They have this really cool standoff where Optimus and Megatron have to team up against Sentinel, and then they've got a fight between Optimus and Megatron afterwards. It's really cool. Um, but yeah, like it's a really cool thing. It's got a pretty good soundtrack. Like most of the Transformers
No,
movies have a good soundtrack. They've always got like a Linkin
yeah,
Park song. They
yeah.
usually got some Goo Goo Dolls in there.
What I've done.
Done, I face
Please,
myself. But yeah,
please tell me that. Please tell me in this one that they've got a Pink Floyd song because they go to the dark side of the moon. Please say they've got a Pink Floyd song
I have no idea. Maybe,
because because that if they don't, that you're missing a trick there. You really
maybe
are.
they did. I don't know. But yeah, that one's got another Linkin Park song, but that's got a really good song by the Goo Goo Dolls.
Yeah.
All That You Are, really good. Goo Goo Dolls did a song for the first movie, Before It's Too Late. I remember watching your live stream of ranking movies, and you mentioned Treasure Planet. The lead singer of Goo Goo Dolls did a song for that. Jim's
Oh
theme,
yeah.
I'm Still
Is
Here.
that? Yes, that one. I love that
Yeah.
song. It's so
So
good.
Goo Goo Dolls do a lot of good songs, and obviously Iris is trending currently because of
Mhm.
the '90s trend going on at the moment of what your parents were like in the '90s. Everyone's using Iris as the
Yeah. Oh yeah.
soundtrack. So yeah,
What
that
did you look like in the 90s?
I didn't
Nothing.
exist. I'm
Neither did
actually
I.
considering doing a video that I'm just putting a blank screen. But
Maybe, yeah.
but yeah, so Goo Goo Dolls do a lot of good songs, but their song in number three is really good. And
Mhm.
it's this scene of like Sam running through like the city and everything,
Oh,
trying to get to his
that's
new
cold.
girl. Because
That is
Megan
cold.
Fox is not in this one, sadly.
Oh
Uh,
my God,
to the
really?
loss of all straight men everywhere, Megan Fox is not here. But to be fair, on an acting perspective, that's for the best.
Oh
On an
my
acting
God,
perspective, it's for the best.
this
She's
guy's
not a
savage.
great actress. We know why Michael Bay hired her. It's not for her acting.
Yep.
Um, but that's in a way the strength, one of the strengths of number three is that it's not relying on Megan Fox. But
Also as well, with with this one, because obviously this is 2011.
2011,
Does
yep.
the climax of this film, where it's like those like space worms and whatnot, does that basically predate the first Avengers
It
movie?
does, yeah. When I watched
So,
Avengers, I was like, that's the thing from Transformers 3. What you want?
it genuinely is
It's
because I've seen
literally
those
the same thing.
I've seen those clips and it's like
Yeah,
because this
Transformers was
predate
first.
yeah like this
Yeah,
literally Avengers copied this
yeah.
and
It was
Avengers Call the
so
Glory.
peak that Avengers had to copy it. It was that cinema.
Yeah,
But no,
that's
it's
brilliant.
real. It's a really good film. CGI is great. I like a lot of the character work they do with it as well. Like there is a bit more depth to this one, I think, than the first two. I think
Yeah.
Transformers 3 probably is the best written film of the entire series.
Mhm.
Of the Michael Bay bunch. Overall, Bumblebee probably edges the win. Like it's not as
I like Bumblebee.
exciting, but it's well written. But in terms of the Michael Bay films, number three is probably the best one. So I can
Mhm.
accept the other three post number one getting nominated, but I'm gonna defend Transformers 3. It's really good. Like Transformers could have just ended as a trilogy, and I would have said, "Yep, this is a really good trilogy with one questionable character decision in the second one, and that's
Yeah.
about it." But you
Although
know,
I kind of
four
do
and
get
five are
like
bad.
I get that the Transformers sequels, they're an easy dunking. They're an easy target
Yeah,
for
I
like
mean,
dunking on.
they're not trying to. Yeah, it's an easy target to dunk on because it is just stupid explosions, badass monologues, and
Robots.
it's property damage, a lot of that. And eventually Optimus committing war crimes. But they're not the deepest thing ever, but they're really cool. And I feel like there's nothing wrong with enjoying a movie just because it's really fucking
Yeah,
cool. And
that's
these
fine.
movies are, especially the visuals, because they are so good. Like they did not need to be that good. But I
Yes.
grew up with these Transformers movies, so I do love
Yeah.
the first three.
To be fair, I've never actually watched any of the mainline ones, but if I were to, one and three would be the ones I'd choose.
You don't really need to know much from number two either to watch number
Yeah.
three.
I'd only want to
Um,
watch like racist robots.
to be fair
To be
though,
honest.
I do really like number two. And to be fair, I think Skids and Mudflap are funny, but I could see why they're problematic.
Yeah.
Um, but I really enjoy all three of the first movies. For a long time when I was younger, number two was my favorite.
Fair.
Because I think the main
Because you're
villain
a
is
racist.
kind. No, I think it's because like I think the main villain of the
Let this
second one's
go.
kind of
I'm not letting this
cool.
go, man.
I think like my favorite Transformer is Devastator because he's like fucking massive and he's in the second one. And then yeah, third film's really good. Four and five you can do without. Four's just again, four's really dull, like really boring. Um, and number five is so stupid. I don't know what Anthony Hopkins was doing being in that movie. Like, bro did not need to stoop that low. It is genuine. And then he just gets slimed by Megatron right, right at the end. Like, bro, I don't know why he bothered signing up for that. Five is genuinely stupid, but it's more fun than four. But the first three,
Yeah.
good. I will defend the first three. And that
Fair.
concludes my Transformers and my Michael Bay segment.
Okay. So we're halfway there. So I got my second movie now. The one of these batch which I am really surprised got a nomination, and which is quite a divisive film, but for a lot of people is a horror movie classic. From 1999, it's The Blair Witch Project.
I did think about doing that one. I thought, I think he's going to do that one. I'm going
Yeah,
to pick
because
stuff
I
he
was,
definitely won. Because Blair Witch Project is a masterclass in atmospheric tension.
yeah, and it's the masterclass in less is more and leaving things up to your imagination. Because things obviously this is very much the gold standard in terms of like found footage horror, which
Yeah.
can oftentimes be quite cheap and just like very easy for low budget filmmakers to just like, oh, get churn a cheap horror movie out, see found footage, don't need to worry about camera quality and whatnot. This is intense because it's about three documentary film students who go into the woods to find about this mythical Blair Witch. And it's framed as if this is the lost you are watching the lost footage of them when they never returned. And the simplicity of it, like the simplicity of the title card with no audio, just explaining what it is. Like, oh, so 1994, these three students never came back, and it's unsettling.
Mm.
The realism it adds to the realism of it all and whatnot.
Especially with the
I
way they
really,
promoted the movie and that they made it seem like
yeah,
it was a real thing to get
yeah, and
people interested in it.
I think that definitely adds to it, but also in obviously removed it from the context of the time. I think how the film does it, where you present the sort of myth of the Blair Witch, where Heather, the main character, she's making a documentary about this, and she's getting her friends involved, and it builds this myth in universe, which is kind of interesting. And but also as well, you very much see Heather's ambition to try and make this documentary when as an audience, this is going to cost her everything, including her life, and it ultimately does. And to me, I think as you go further and further into the film, as the stakes get higher and the tension raises, I think for me, the most one of the most disturbing parts is that iconic confession scene. The bit on the poster with the close up of her face, and it's such an unglamorous shot. Like you see a nostril and whatnot, and it's been parodied and mimicked to death. But it's such an unglamorous image, and that is basically her. It's towards the end. But it's basically her confessing her own death that she knows she's going to die, and the fact that she can think that, to me, that's a really disturbing thought, and that makes it really unsettling. But also as well throughout the film, I think the jump scares where you don't know what's quite going on. I think that works really well. I think it's done
Yeah,
effectively and
especially
done
with the fact that you
sparingly as
don't
well.
actually see the thing until like maybe
You don't
briefly at the end.
you only see the Blair Witch that you don't actually see it, and I think not seeing it leaves so much more to imagination. The fact that when they sort of there's a bit where they're sort of discussing about this ancient ritual where like people's intestines are ripped out and whatnot, and it
Mm.
creates this vivid picture in your mind of like this is horrifying.
Yeah, because quite often your
Um,
imagination can create something far worse than what they could put on the
yeah,
screen.
yeah, especially of this budget of like 30 grand that they had for this film. It wasn't
Yeah.
much at all.
It's
But
one of the most profitable movies
yeah,
ever. Like
it is. Yeah,
tiny budget, massive
one of the
profit.
one of the highest grossing films of 1999. And bear in mind, you had films like The Phantom Menace, The Sixth Sense come out that year. Some
Matrix,
big money make.
The
Matrix, yeah.
Mummy,
Mummy, Fight Club. I think that
Fight
was a
Club.
flop, but to be fair, when it came out. Um, but Blair Witch is fantastic, and I say creates these vivid images in your head of like what the unseen could be, but also has great character work. And a lot of people at the time really slated the acting in the film, and I really don't agree with that because I think it's naturalistic and I think it works, especially Heather, when you see her truly just break down into this mess and shell of a person. And for me, what really elevates it is that final sequence where they go into the house, and some of those final shots are fucking disturbing. I had to have the lights on that night.
Yeah, it spooked me out when I watched it.
It hit me the fuck. It shit me up.
Yeah.
That did
But
genuinely because
yeah, I think
it's
as
when
yeah, with the
yeah,
acting,
it's
it's
how
like,
just
it's supposed to be kind of human, and not
yeah,
like professional acting because it's just three documentary students. It's
yeah,
supposed to feel a little bit amateurish in some cases, I
yeah,
guess. Like in the
just like
earlier
natural. It's
half
just
when it's
real.
just
Yeah.
kind of messing around.
Mm.
But yeah, it's a good movie.
Yeah. That final shot, like when you see it's from Heather's perspective, I think, where she sees, I think it's, I can't remember, is it Josh or Josh or Mike? But the one guy standing in the corner facing because
Yeah,
he's
the
just
guy
been
in the
killed.
corner.
That
Yeah.
is that shot, that single image is haunting. And then when she gets
Yeah.
knocked down, and it's just that it's horrifying. It
Yeah.
genuinely is. So yeah, Blair Witch Project, a fantastic, genuinely fantastic horror movie, and it's a bit of a divisive one. But this is the one of all three of these where I disagree most with its Razzie Worst Picture nomination.
I think even out of the ones I've said as well, like I think still Blair Witch is the one that least deserved it. Because like I
Yeah.
can admit the other two I've said definitely have certain flaws and fallacies, whereas like,
Hmm.
there's literally nothing wrong with this film. This
Yeah.
is a very good film. I think it's maybe
Yeah.
just people didn't under. I think maybe at the time they didn't understand maybe
Or maybe they
fully
found,
what it
or
was.
maybe found it a bit gimmicky with the whole fan footage. But I really don't
Maybe
think it's gimmicky. I don't think it's
no.
gimmicky at all. The only thing I would maybe knock against this film is that maybe the pacing is a little bit meandering at points, just by its very nature as a more grounded, naturalistic fly on the wall kind of thing. But overall, it's fantastic. I
Yeah.
genuinely love it. So yeah, what's your final film? That's all I got to say about Blair Witch.
My final one, I wasn't sure where to bring it up. It's not particularly timely considering it is March, but we will talk about
Is
it.
it a Christmas movie?
It is in fact a Christmas movie. It's only there aren't many Christmas movies that have been nominated. I'd like to say thankfully it's not Saving Christmas, but it is Surviving Christmas. The film with Ben Affleck. So we got Ben Affleck back
Hmm.
again. Uh,
Does he
um,
live here?
apparently he lives at the Razzies, but I was thinking about it. There was a lot of movies I wanted to talk about, and then I realized we covered them already. I almost brought up The Wicker Man, which I covered off in our episode where we talked about bad movies. But to be fair, I'm
Yeah.
not even sure I could defend Wicker Man fully. Same story with Batman and Robin, also nominated. Additionally, I also saw two Adam Sandler movies that I wanted to talk about, but I discussed both of those already in the Adam Sandler episode, Grown Ups 2 and
Yeah.
Pixels. So I can't do anything about those. So that left me with Surviving Christmas, which is a movie about Ben Affleck, who plays an eccentric millionaire who revisits his family home to find someone else has moved in with their family and pays them to spend Christmas with them so he's not alone for the holidays. And
Oh.
it's a little goofy, he's a real like goofball of a millionaire, and the family's very like it's not a very like normal family. But it's really funny. It's got a good charm to it. It's not a terrible film like people say. It's always rated so badly, but I do enjoy it. Like I do watch it every year
Mhm.
now since I started watching it. I think I
I
first saw
love
it
the
like in
fact
2023 or so.
I love the fact that the director of this movie also directed Shrek 4 and Kung Fu Panda 4. There's the question. What would you rather watch, Surviving Christmas or Kung Fu Panda 4?
Surviving Christmas.
Valid. Kung Fu Panda 4 is kind of mid.
Yeah, it was aggressively mid, but that
Yeah.
Tenacious D
Ah,
cover of "Hit Me Baby One More Time" is really good.
yeah.
But yeah, it just Surviving Christmas is I know I feel like it gets a bit more of a bad rep than it is. It's a really kind of goofy family holiday film. It's also kind of a rom-com in a way as well. It's I don't get why people trash on it.
Hmm.
It's not awful. Like,
Fair enough.
it's fine. I don't see what the problem is. I don't think it should be nominated for worst film. Thankfully, it didn't win, as did none of my ones I've discussed, because
I
the
think
winners were
Catwoman won that year.
genuinely awful. So,
I think Catwoman won that year, didn't it? The year
yeah,
Surviving
Catwoman
Christmas.
won in 2004.
Yeah,
So, I think the rest of the slate in 2004 was also pretty rough. So,
yeah,
I think it
fair.
had an easy go.
Yeah, is that
2004. Um, Worst picture, Razzie. Let's see, Surviving Christmas, 2004. So it was up against Catwoman, White Chicks, Alexander, and a
oh my
movie
God,
called
White
Super
Chicks?
Babies, Baby Geniuses 2. So I don't think Surviving Christmas needed to worry.
Yeah, I think it was going to do all right. Yeah,
But
is that
White
everything
Chicks
about?
was also a good film that I would have considered defending, if not
Yeah,
just for Terry Crews singing Thousand Miles. And I need you, and I miss you, and now I wonder. But yeah,
fucking
that's
hell.
also a good film. But yeah, Catwoman was
Yeah,
easily winning that year. But no,
yeah, no
I
way.
do really like Surviving Christmas. I think it is one that gets way more flack than it needs. It's a nice little film. I think Ben Affleck's great in it. He plays this kind of really like eccentric millionaire really nicely. Like he's
It's
not.
like Tony Stark.
No, he's a lot more childlike.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's got like, this childlike wonder to it, really. But he's just trying to recreate what a family Christmas was like because he doesn't have a family anymore, and none of his friends want to hang out with him for Christmas or anything. His girlfriend doesn't want to hang out with him because she doesn't think he's committed enough, and so he's got nobody. And he's like, he wants someone to spend the holidays with. And so,
Fair enough.
yeah, he's just like, he's got this childlike sense of excitement, and there's like a really funny scene where like when he's with his like paid family and whatever, he has like a snowball fight with his family. And then like the dad comes down, he throws a snowball at him, and the dad starts chucking ice balls at him. But and then
God
it's
damn.
just it's a really nice little movie. It's a little bit farcical but towards the end, when he started to fall um for a woman in the family who's basically playing his sister to an
Oh,
extent, but she
oh dear.
hasn't really agreed to it, but like you know but yeah, he kind of starts falling for her, but then his girlfriend comes over wanting to meet his family. So then he has to convince his girlfriend that his family are just his family, but he's not with her because he's with her. And does that sound a little familiar to you? It almost sounds a bit like the play we're doing, like with all this kind
Don't
of.
dress for dinner.
It
Coming to
sounds.
Little Theatre Donington, 16th to the 18th of April,
Yes,
2026. Get your tickets now.
it is a little bit farcical. It's a little bit towards the end. Like the final act has that kind of layer to it. So it is a fun
Does
movie.
does George show up?
No, no, George does not
Oh,
show
good.
up and beat everyone up.
Oh, oh, God damn it.
Can we get like
There's
can we
a
record some
there's a really
footage
dodgy
of
going on here.
can we record some footage of Cam on like a green screen and we just edit him
Oh,
into the movie?
I did him into the
Right,
third
we'll
match of
saw
the
this
movie.
then.
Right, what's all this then? Oh, God
Just
damn it.
editing the characters into random movies.
Oh, God, yeah. We got to do that. The thing is, my green jacket would like, I couldn't get it on a green screen, could I?
Yeah, that's true. You're in the
That'd be a
green.
problem.
It's
Yeah, shame. Either
yeah.
way,
Either way,
surviving
that wraps
Christmas.
me up. So
It wraps you up like a Christmas present.
hey, I think we should pause there and then because we've only got three
Yeah,
minutes.
my final film. It is a film that has come out within the lifetime of the
Yes.
podcast.
My mom's
Right,
kind of
we'd be going for
homeless.
that. Okay, you've waited long enough. Megalopolis.
Yeah, I saw that come in. I looked through all the things that were nominated since the
Yeah,
podcast started, and it was the only obvious choice. Unless
yeah.
for some
It.
reason you were defending Madam Web.
I would defend it more than most, but it's still shite.
It's awful.
Yeah. But yeah, Megalopolis, obviously the most recent film from Francis Ford Coppola, the guy who did The Godfather Part 2, The Godfather Part 3, which was also shite, Apocalypse Now, Bram Stoker's Dracula, an acclaimed director, made some of the most influential films of all time. And then he made this, which is his passion project since like the early 80s. So it's been 40 odd years in the making. It's had a wild production history throughout the years. It tried to take off in like the early 2000s. It didn't. He basically had to sell his wine company to fund the film because it's like a self-funded film technically. You had its weird as hell premiere at Cannes with a really mixed reception. You had that weird like trailer with like fake AI reviews of his older movies to make this look
Yeah,
better. If you remember, we talked about that.
that was
And
weird.
then in the
Yeah.
end, it was all to kind of lift up this really bizarre film. And basically, obviously, the main premise of the film, it's set in a futuristic New York called New Rome. It's kind of like a sort of classic, sort of Roman-esque tragedy, but in a kind of a sort of futuristic sci-fi dystopian setting. And you've got an architect played by Adam Driver who tries to create this utopian city, um, going against all like logic and reason and whatnot. And there's a whole lot of like corruption and power conflicts between like the mayor and whatnot. And there's a whole load of like entanglement and kind of like the power dynamics of the people connected to Caesar, obviously Adam Driver. This film is bonkers, genuinely bonkers, right? Um, as I say, very out there and ambitious. A bit like I was talking about The Bride, actually, the very beginning of the podcast, which was like a lifetime ago.
Oh
Um,
God, yeah.
yeah,
Long
because
episode.
we've been recorded for a long time. But yeah,
Been
this
here
film
almost
is
4 hours.
yeah, been here for a while. But yeah, with this film is just very out there. The thing is, kind of don't think it should have got a worst film nod because ultimately, like production wise, the film looks gorgeous. I love the color scheme, I love the aesthetic, I love the production design of this kind of futuristic but almost classical architecture. Sort of, I like that combination, and I think the idea of trying to tell like almost like a Roman tragedy of like over ambition to the point where you will crumble. I think that's an interesting angle to take, but the way the execution, all the different plot lines, all the different characters converging and just the way it feels quite convoluted at points and just really fucking trippy at points. It's like I don't fully get it, and even like because I remember saying this when it came out when we talked about it because on the like the ranking, you remember that early
Yes.
ranking that we did. I remember sort of saying, "Who is this film made for?" And I couldn't really figure it out then. Obviously, other than Francis Ford Coppola, I couldn't really figure it out then, and I still can't figure it out now. That memory I have when I watched it back in like September 24 of me watching it, and there was another couple watching it, and they walked out halfway through because it was just not doing it for them, and it just was not clicking at all. Um, yeah, I do get that this is absolutely not everyone's cup of tea, and it really, I mean, it fought to the box office, but also just for Coppola standards, it really is. It feels confused. I don't get who this is for. However, what I will say is I have a lot more respect for this film than most in the current like sort of film landscape. Like if we look at 2024 as a year, honestly, in reflection, I think it was a pretty shite year for blockbuster cinema. I don't think there were many great blockbusters that year.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
That's an exception that proves the rule. And even then, I don't think it's the best. Like compared to that years gone. But I think 2025 was a really good year for blockbuster. I think, you know, like if you put Deadpool and Wolverine in 2025, I think it would have faltered a little bit. But personally, I mean, yeah, like you have Deadpool and Wolverine, you have your Wicked, you have your Wild Robot, you have your Inside Out 2, but a lot of the other films just, I don't know, a lot of like generic,
Yeah, I mean, look at the
just
other movies that got nominated in 2024. Madam Web, Borderlands, Joker Folie à
yeah,
Deux, and Reagan. That was the
yeah,
competition. Obviously, Madam Web
yeah,
won,
what,
to the
yeah,
surprise of nobody. Probably
yeah,
mostly for
but
just for having that line about my. He was in the Amazon with my
right, it was
mother
around my
researching
mother,
spiders.
yeah, just before he died. Yeah, but there's so many just like generic legacy sequels, streaming slop. It was a really weak year, and I want to read this statement. It was from Coppola when he was up for because I think he was up for like worst director, which is ironic, this acclaimed director up for that. And obviously, so I'm going to read this that he put on his Instagram because I think it's a really interesting. I think it kind of sums up how I feel about. Whilst the film is not great, I have a lot of respect for it in certain ways. This is what he put. So I'm thrilled to accept the Razzie Award in so many important categories for Megalopolis film, and for the distinctive honour of being nominated as the worst director, worst screenplay, and worst picture at a time where so few have the courage to go against the prevailing trends of contemporary movie making. In this wreck of a world today, where art is given scores as if it were professional wrestling, I'd chosen to not follow the gutless rules laid down by an industry so terrified of risk that despite the enormous pool of young talent at its disposal, may not create pictures that will be relevant and alive 50 years from now. What an honor to stand alongside a great and courageous filmmaker like Jacques Tati. He's an older French filmmaker from like the 60s, 70s, who impoverished himself completely to make one of my cinema's most beloved failures, Playtime. My sincere thanks to all my brilliant colleagues who joined me to make our work of art Megalopolis, and let us remind ourselves that us and let us remind ourselves us that box office is only about money, and like war, stupidity, and politics has no true place in our future. And I honestly just 100% agree with that kind of philosophy. And that's the
Based,
thing when you
based philosophy.
yeah, because
Salute
when he
it.
mentions like
That's good.
when he mentions scores, I think obviously, and I'm guilty of this because I always love to like rank movies and like score out of 10 and give them 5 stars
Yeah.
and whatnot. Because on Letterboxd, I've got Megalopolis at 3 stars, 3 out of 5, so like 6 out of 10. Generally speaking, that would be a kind of bang average film, a bit kind of like and whatnot. I give it 3 stars because I'm so polarized on it. I don't really know what to make of it, so I just kind of give it that because it's like it doesn't really work out, but I respect a lot of what it's trying to do, and it's you know, and I really respect that because it's a film that really does defy the odds and really doesn't go. It really does go against the grain, and that's what I mean. You have a film like Madam Web, which is just corporate generic slop, just banking on the superhero trend. You've got stuff like Craven the Hunter, Joker Folie
God, I
Do,
didn't
which is
even
it.
watch Craven. I'm surprised that didn't
Neither
get
did I.
nominated. I heard it's worse than Madam
Yeah,
Web.
exactly. Yeah,
It's
stuff
got to
like
be worse than
Borderlands,
Madam
which
Web. It didn't have Sydney Sweeney in it.
yeah. But that's the thing,
Great genes.
that's why I kind of shut up, for fuck's sake. But I say that's why I respect, Coppola for just being bold and making that kind of film,
I think that's fair.
even if it really doesn't have much mass appeal like an Oppenheimer or a Killers of the Flower Moon have. They had like other films from acclaimed directors, kind of, I don't know. It's interesting. It's really interesting,
I think that's fair
and
because, I think it's hard when you've got all these movies that are so different in different genres to rank them all on the same 10-star scale that we have on
yeah,
IMDb, 5 stars on Letterboxd, whatever. It's sort of like how do you compare like the greatest romance movie to the greatest sci-fi to the greatest horror to the greatest
yeah,
biopic? Like, the scores are kind of pointless sometimes, really. I mean, because
yeah. It's a bit of
it's like you could
it's a bit
say
of a
this
double-edged sword.
movie
It's
is
a bit
like,
of
for
a
example, you could say this X movie is like it's a 2 out of 10 movie objectively, but I got 8 out of 10 enjoyment. So like,
exactly. That's what you can have a bad movie, but you have a lot of fun with it.
I think we
It's
get
like
too hung up on
The
scores.
Elvis movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes for me, the fun of it is to compare completely different movies and see, like, just embrace all of it. But at the same time, yeah, sometimes it's not really effective to score things out of, a number system like that.
Especially
And
when those
Megalopolis is a
scores are
film.
given such weights like critic scores are sometimes, where
Yeah,
that kind of thing will make or break whether people will actually go and see your movie. Not so much nowadays, but obviously, like in years gone past, critic reviews is pretty much how you would judge whether you want to go and watch a movie.
yeah,
They'd be like, if they say it's good, I got to go see it. If they say it's
mm,
bad, I don't see it. That's what the
nah,
critics are paid to do.
mhm,
So, scores are given so much power. I respect him
yeah,
for basically flipping the finger at that power and saying, "Look, I made my movie. I'm proud of it. I'm
mhm.
happy with it." And so I really
Fair.
respect that.
Yeah, it might not be for me, and it might not be for really anybody else, but
It was for him.
fair enough. Yeah,
It was for him.
and
He
and
wanted
that's
to make it.
and that's and that's the reason I wanted to spotlight it because I really feel like it. Yes, there are many flaws with that film, but I personally do not think a film like that could have been in the running of like stuff like Joker 2, which was a film so ill-conceived, basically out of spite. A film like Madam Web and Borderlands, which just exist as just streaming slop, really. You know, a film like Megalopolis has such ambition and passion behind it that yes, it doesn't work, but I really don't think it should have been in that category just because it didn't make its money back and just because not everybody got what it was going for. I
Yeah.
really don't
At least he tried something new.
appreciate it. Yeah, and that's why I wanted to spotlight it because obviously we remember I was talking about it when it came out back in
And
like
before
late
it came out,
24.
you were talking about
Yeah,
it.
we were
Yeah.
discussing that. Yeah, that's sort of the lead up to it. I was really hyped for this film. I remember like the build up, like the new Coppola film. Like I was really excited to go see it, and it was an interesting experience to say
Yeah.
the least. But that's why I wanted to spotlight it now, about a year and a half after it's come out, to see the legacy that it will have. Because obviously the ceremony that this film was at was obviously this time last year, last year's ceremony. So I'm really interested to see, will this get a bit of a cult following? Obviously, the Blair Witch Project definitely did get a cult following after it came out. The Lone Ranger, I feel like is starting to a degree. I I don't
Meanwhile,
know.
Transformers has always had a cult following.
Yeah,
And I think
but
Armageddon's got a
Megalopolis,
fair amount of fans.
yeah, definitely. But Megalopolis, I am really curious to see where the legacy of that film will take it. I'm genuinely curious to that because it's hard to tell at the minute. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
think though, on a point you
that's
made
all my
earlier
points.
about 2024 not being a great year for blockbusters, obviously I told you about the nominees for 2024. I think 2023 might be worse. It's sequel,
20,
sequel,
yeah.
sequel, sequel, and absolute garbage that ended up winning. You got The Exorcist Believer, which I did watch, and it was terrible.
Mhm.
Expendables 4, which is it's not offensive. It's just mid. It's just a mid sequel. Meg
Yeah.
2, The Trench, the shark sequel no one asked for. Shazam Fury of the Gods, it was fine. And then the winner was Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Oh God, yeah.
That's what we were dealing with the year before. So
Honestly, of that batch, I think Winnie the Pooh is the one that's most interesting, to be
probably
honest.
are. To be fair, like, yeah,
Yeah.
I guess it's interesting. I'd probably have to give it to Exorcist Believer. Genuinely one of
Yeah.
the worst movies I've seen in a while. Like, in terms of
Yeah. I
movies that
think
came out
actually,
recently, it
I
was
will.
not good.
Yeah, I probably will say. I think 2023, like Oppenheimer aside, Barbie aside, Spider-Verse aside, Guardians 3 aside, it was a rough year for mainstream movies. That was.
Yeah,
That was
luckily
a
we're bringing it
rough
back with
year.
25. Last year was pretty
Yeah.
decent. This year's looking good.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. 24 was a little bit better, but again, wasn't great. I don't think. But yeah, that's kind of I'm really happy that we ended it on Megalopolis.
Yeah. That
You know,
said, since you went through all the winners of the categories for the Oscars, I am going to be your opposite counterpart, your antithesis, and I'm going to go through the winners of all the Razzies from this year.
all of them. Oh,
Just real quick. There's not many.
okay,
There's nowhere near as many
fair.
categories. So worst picture, the winner was War of the Worlds, unsurprisingly. Worst director went to Rich Lee for War of the Worlds, unsurprisingly. Worst
Really?
actor, take care to care to take a guess.
Ice Cube.
Ice Cube for
I
War of the
Ice Cube's
Worlds.
glasses.
Worst actress, Rebel Wilson for Brightheart.
How did Gal Gadot not get it for Snow White?
I have no idea. It wasn't even nominated.
That's insane.
Worst
At least
supporting
Rachel,
actor
at
was
least
all
Rachel Zegler can
seven
sing.
artificial dwarves in Snow White.
I've seen that one.
But that's insane though, because that category also had Nick Cage and Sylvester Stallone.
The Razzies fucking hate Sylvester Stallone, don't they?
And Cage, bruh. But yeah, Nicolas
Yeah, but
Cage
especially
in
Stallone.
Gunslingers and Sylvester Stallone in Alarum. But yeah, they both get a little bit of a ribbing at the Razzies. Worst
Yeah.
supporting actress went to Scarlett Rose Stallone for Gunslingers, the
Yeah,
new
they
Nick
hit the
Cage
Stallones.
Western. Yes, they don't
They
like the
hit the Stallones.
Stallones. And even then, supporting actress Gal Gadot not mentioned.
How?
Kal-El, no. Worst screen combo, which obviously had some brilliant nominees. The nominees were, yeah, James Corden and Rihanna in Smurfs. Yeah, great combo. Robert De Niro and Robert De Niro in Alto
In the
Nights.
altar, nice. Yeah,
Ice Cube and his
that's
Zoom
funny.
camera in War of the Worlds. The Weeknd and his colossal ego in Hurry Up Tomorrow. And the winner, all seven artificial dwarves again for Snow White. Worst remake, ripoff, or sequel, War of the Worlds, somehow beating Five Nights at Freddy's 2 and Snow White.
Wow.
Worst screenplay, War of the Worlds.
Did I even have a
And the
screenplay?
Razzie Redeemer Award for, someone who won a Razzie before but did
Kate,
really well this year, Kate Hudson.
Kate Hudson. Because she got nominated for Song Sung Blue for Best Actress.
Yes. I think that's kind of cool that they do an award for people who did something shit
It's
before
quite
and are now
nice.
doing something really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's it. There
Maybe,
aren't
maybe,
many,
maybe, maybe Francis Ford Coppola might get one in years to come.
maybe, but no, there's not many.
Maybe,
No, it's not many
yeah,
categories. But Snow
yeah.
White and War of the Worlds both got 6 nominations each, and War of the Worlds won one, two, three, for 5 of those 6 nominees. The only one it
Bloody
lost was
hell.
Ice Cube and his Zoom camera lost to the Artificial Dwarves.
God
And
damn.
that's gonna make War of the Worlds one of the most successful awards no thing ever. It won 5 out of 6 of its nominations.
Sweet sweep of the world.
Take that, sinners! You only won 4 of 12 or 16 or whatever. You won four of
16, yeah.
16. War of the Worlds won 5 of 6. Get on its level.
But did it beat one battle after another? I didn't think so.
But
Uh,
yeah,
uh, uh.
that was the Razzies. It's nowhere near
And
as
that was
big
that.
as the Oscars.
Yeah. But that was our Oscars episode. I'm tired now.
Yeah, this has been a long, a long
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah, we
We've been
apologize
at
for
it
it.
for 4 hours. The final episode won't be as long as 4 hours. There's time in
Yeah.
between and whatever. But
Yeah.
well,
But
yeah.
I hope you enjoyed the episode though.
I
And
hope you
let
stuck
us know what you
around.
hopefully you're still here. But let us know what you thought of the all the nominations and whatnot, all the wins.
Yes,
Some of the films like Sinners, Frankenstein, One Battle, some of these, films and what you think of them. And let us know a bit about some of your opinions on the Razzie Award films and whatnot. Some of the films that you think that got nominated that you feel like maybe are kind of underrated and maybe should have a bit more of a
someone
chance.
defend
And
Jack and Jill, please.
fucking try. Go on, try.
Someone please come
What's
try and defend Jack and Jill.
your name's not Dan anymore? No, it's Dunk. Dunker Clay.
God.
Anyway, I think it's that time where we've got to go to bed now. So we will see you in the next episode.
Yes, thank you for watching and see you next time.
Good night.